Tasman proved her Kentucky Oaks win was no fluke. After winning the Acorn, she goes for a Grade 1 natural hat trick coming up. Salty gave Abel Tasman a run for her money in the Acorn, but in 2 meetings, twice she's come up short, with a third time be the charm. Claiborne Farm hopes their homebred Elate can build off her impressive stakes win at Delaware. We'll visit with Managing Director Walker Hancock and get ready for some creative headgear. The 26th annual Saratoga Hat Contest coming up. And of course, we'll look back at Lady Eli and her incredible stretch run in the Grade 1 Diana and what was likely her Saratoga send-off. Welcome, everyone, to Saratoga Live on this Sunday afternoon as opening weekend continues. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. A beautiful Sunday afternoon. We had all the action we could handle on Saturday and Sunday. It just continues right along with the Kentucky Oaks winner Abel Tasman back in action, looking to go for a third consecutive Grade 1 win and a very good field assembled that will take her on. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met, Los Angeles Dodger, Paul LaDuca. We'll have Gabby Gaudet joining us a little bit later on in the show. But, Paul, this great weekend continues, and this race coming up, obviously we saw Songbird come here last year, win 2 big races at Saratoga. Now we'll see if Abel Tasman can do the same.
And Bob Baffert trying to bring that same magic he brought last year here when he brought Dreyfong and obviously Arrowgate. We saw what happened yesterday with Arrowgate, how things can turn and how things you need to forget, how Mike Smith needs to put that aside himself and now get on a flight, come out here to Saratoga and ride the champion filly. She was dynamite in the Kentucky Oaks, and she was dynamite last time at Belmont in the Acorn.
Yeah, there's a filly, though, that did give her a run for her money in that race, so she's going to have to deal with again in Salty in that spot, and some new shooters as well. As we take a look at this field of 7 will line up for this Grade 1. Of course, the homebred for Claiborne is Elate down on the inside, coming off a big win at Delaware and now stepping up to the big leagues and another chance at Grade 1 competition. With more on the Kentucky Oaks winner, let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Conditioner Bob Baffert here, Greg. As Bob, when he comes to the East Coast here, at least at NYRA, he certainly means business. He is 7 for 13 over the past year here at NYRA, 54%, and certainly Abel Tasman, she was a part of that significant run he had on Belmont Stakes Day, taking the Acorn. Now, in preparation for this CCA Oaks, she's had 3 workouts in a span of 15 days, including her last workout, which was 59 and change, and she bested Met Mile winner More Spirit in the morning. She arrived here at Saratoga on Monday. She jogged and has been galloping throughout the week here under the watchful eye of trainer John Terranova, as Baffert always does, and under exercise rider and valet extraordinaire Simon Harris. And he says she's just a real laid-back kind of girl, just goes about her business pretty easily, and that's kind of indicative of the way she runs, too. She likes to come from off of the pace, which will be a concerning factor here today, as there's not much pace here in today's CCA Oaks, Greg.
Yeah, there is not much pace at all. It looks like the big runners in this group all want to come from off the pace. Daddy's Little Darling, another one that's going to come from the clouds.
Yeah, and we'll talk about pace a little bit later when we get closer, but Salty on the outside, I think it's her race sort of to control maybe the pace in here. There may be some other horses that are quicker than her, but I think the talent-wise, she's the one that could beat Abel Tasman. I think she's the one that stays close to Elate. But don't forget, Mike Smith is a Hall of Fame rider. He knows exactly what's going on, and I think Abel Tasman won't be as far back as the form might read.
Grade 1 Coaching Club, American Oaks. It's race 10 on our card. You can play along as you watch from home. Bet the action by opening an NYRA Bets wagering account. If you bet $200, you get $200 in your account. Use the promo code PIG5 to take advantage. You can get signed up and started with NYRA Bets all across the country, nationwide, so take advantage and bet on over 200 tracks. Go to NYRABets.com, get signed up and started with that PIG5 promo code. Track conditions are brought to you by John Deere. Main track is fast, turf condition listed as firm. As we mentioned, that Coaching Club American Oaks, that will be race 10. Our NYRA Bets late pick 5. It will kick off our show. That begins in race 7. 6 furlongs, $25,000 claiming race on the main track. The 8th, we move to a mile on the inner turf. Race 9, a 5.5 furlong sprint over the grass, which is wide open. And the nightcap which will not be on our show, but is part of that late pick 5, 40 maiden claiming race at a mile over the inner turf.
You got to get involved with these NYRA pick 5 plays. You really do. And there is the promo there, $100,000 single winning payout offered daily at NYRABets.com. Here's the thing. It was going into yesterday about an average, if you took the carryover, of about $13,000. What did it pay yesterday?
$9,588.
And what? A couple horses were tough to get to. So it's been a phenomenal play so far. And don't forget about that pick 4. Still paid over $6,000.
If you're the only winner in the NYRA Bets late pick 5, $100,000 payout is well. And the only way to make sure you get that payout is if you play that late pick 5 through NYRA Bets. So also, if you live outside of the state of New York, the only way to play it, get signed up and started with NYRABets.com. So definitely something you want to be part of. That is going to kick off our show in just a few moments. We're going to send it downstairs now with their thoughts on this card. New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling and one of the top trainers in the country, Tom Amos. Guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. Great day here. Looking forward to the CCA Oaks. The first CCA Oaks that I saw, Ruffian was completing her sweep of the then Philly Triple Crown.
God, they didn't even have cell phones back then.
No. I think we still had a black and white TV, actually, then. Well, the NYRA Bets pick 5, and I agree with everything that Paul and Greg were saying upstairs. It really is a sensational bet. Now, it's not easy, and it's not going to be easy today, but you've got to put something in. You just got to be involved, and yesterday Paul took a chance and embarrassed himself. I'll throw in my hat in the ring and try to embarrass myself again today. I'm going to use 2 horses in this race. The 4 Honor Way, a horse for Todd Pletcher, seems like a logical drop down, and I like the 10 Luna Rising, who's a better price, 9-1 now. And keep in mind the dirt race today, so far the rail has been very strong in these races. I'm hoping Honor Way can at least get an inside trip. There should be a lot of pace. 5-7 in the second leg. That's Alabama Bound, the Speed, and Sweet August Lady, Chad Brown's horse. Race number 9, the third leg. I'll be using 3, 5, 9, and 10. 1, 2, and 7 in our 10th race. That's a late, along with the big 2, Abel Tasman and Salty. And 1, 11, 12 to close it out in a very contentious 11th race. A $72 ticket. Tom, you got to take a whack at this thing.
Yeah, I see you getting through the first leg. After that, it looks like you'll be doing what you do with a lot of those tickets.
Really? So I'm pretty much done after the first leg if you think I'm getting through. But right now, Gabby Godet is standing by with a special guest.
What's set for an amazing day once again on this Sunday afternoon. And I'm also happy to be joined by Hall of Fame rider Mike Smith, who is aboard the 8-5 morning line favorite, and Abel Tasman later on in the Coaching Club American Oaks. And Mike, first and foremost, how does it feel to be back at Saratoga, and how does it feel to actually have the chance to equal all-time wins in such a historical race?
Well, I didn't know that part. It's always great to be back here. I just absolutely love it here. I mean, who couldn't? Here in Del Mar this time of year, apples and oranges are the 2 greatest places to be in racing.
And let's talk some Abel Tasman and the Coaching Club American Oaks later today. First and foremost, how do you see the pace dynamic kind of developing today?
It's interesting in it on paper. It's kind of race you're just not going to know until we get out there, to be honest with you, Gabby. There's really not much pace in there at all unless someone just decides to go. So hopefully someone does. I don't really want to be that guy, but Abel has laid close at times when she does get away well. She's a big old filly, so she always kind of gets away a little slow. But if she happens to jump well, I'd probably see her a little closer than she normally is.
How do you strategize last minute, speaking of that? Because it does look like there's not a lot of pace on paper.
Well, the good thing about her, though, Gabby, she's actually has laid close and run well. Mm-hmm. She won the Group 1 Starlet there at the Los Al, laying pretty close. Matter of fact, she ran by me that day. Joe Talamo rode her that day, and she was pretty close to the pace that day. So I know she can do it. Since then, since Bob's gotten her, we've equipped her with a little bit of a blinker because she was really waiting on horses a lot once she'd hit the front. So I'm not near as worried. Just in case she is up there, I wouldn't be near as worried as I probably would have been in the past. So we're just going to have to wait and play it off the break. And the good thing about riding for Bob is he lets me, decide what we're going to do as the race unfolds.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike, and best of luck later today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. That's Hall of Famer Mike Smith aboard 8-5 morning line favorite Abel Tasman later on in today's Coaching Club American Oaks. We'll get to that race later on today, but first, here's a look at race 7 with Tom and Andy.
Nice to hear from Mike Smith. Now, on our way in here, as a trainer, Tom, and this is really one of your strengths, finding spots to put your horses in. If you're going to win in Saratoga, you have to be aggressive and drop. And I think that this drop down is just the right spot for Todd Pletcher to get a win.
I see it the same way. Perhaps call this a sacrificial lamb. get the win, but no, you're not bringing her back to the barn. There'll be a number of claims in on the floor on her way. She just comes out of this kind of, of a much tougher race, a starter allowance race. Andy, you were there for that. The top 2 finishers came back to win. The winner of that race came back to win in a first-level allowance race at Belmont, and that is a step up from this kind of race, this starter allowance race. She's back against a field with a ton of speed in here, and most of those horses are what I refer to as one-dimensional. Not only do they have speed, but they can't win unless they clear the field, and there's so many of those in here. I think the pace is going to be super hot. Favors a horse that can come from off the pace. On her way is that horse.
I agree. It's very hard to see some of these speed types winning without the lead, and also on her way more towards the inside. And this track, as we said, has been playing towards the inside. She's not as good as her 81 buyer figure suggests 2 back, but she's the horse to beat here. I like the 10 on her Luda Rising here for Kieran McLaughlin. Now, she breaks outside. She's going to have to find the right kind of trip, but she's a horse that has some speed, but I think she can rate. Now, she's never won rating, but I'm hoping she can do Tom, and she's getting class relief as well.
Class relief as well, coming out of the same types of races that On Her Way just came out of at Belmont Park. So a logical play from the outside.
Well, we'll see how these horses are looking since they came to Saratoga. We like it here. How about the horses, Maggie?
Andy, you touched on 2 that are making excellent impressions on me. Obviously, the drop down here for trainer Todd Pletcher is On Her Way. Now, physically, she's a big, imposing filly. She's always been that way. She carries her flesh well. The one thing I can say about her today is that she's fairly nervous, and she's gotten a bit washy, which means a horse kind of gets sweated up between their legs, and it just indicates that, well, they're kind of fretting about what's about to come to them. They're at the races. They're not necessarily looking forward to it. So that's one kind of notch against your likely post-time favorite here. Moving on to a new face, and that's number 6, Nisha, as she's won both of her starts, albeit out of town at Arlington Park and Wild and Wonderful West Virginia at Mountaineer. She does come in here. She does look as though she's a filly with speed. She's certainly fast in her appearance, very much of that built downhill kind of frame to her with the elevated hindquarters. It just says speed all the way. She's composed herself very nicely, though, very calm and kind of classy acting overall. I think she fits well considering the races that she won and her speed figures here. She's interesting. I'm a little concerned possibly about surface change. You know, she's primarily been on the synthetic surfaces out in Chicago, so we'll see how she handles the main track here at the Spa. And then, Andy, your horse is Luna Rising. I like this filly. The drop down makes sense to me. She looks fantastic. One of the best times I've seen her appear in the flesh here for Kieran McLaughlin. I think this might be her race. Hopefully, she'll be able to rate a little bit as she is drawn towards the outside with a lot of speed to her inside. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. We're approaching the 11-minute mark to post for the start of this Naira Bets late pick 5. We'll have the first leg when we come back. Next on Saratoga Live, she has showed that she is more than willing and able. Kentucky Oaks and Acorn winner Abel Tasman goes for a 3rd straight. Grade 1 later.
Claiborne Farm presents Trap Shot. This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer is now an emerging young sire. His top runners include Fish Trap Road, winner of the Grade 3 Dwyer Stakes, plus 2-year-old stakes winner Mirai, graded stakes place Quick Release, and Grade 1 performers My Man Sam and Wild Shot. Already ranked among the nation's leading sires of 2-year-old winners, Trap Shot has the speed, the class, and the pedigree to remain Tappett's top sign. Trap Shot at Claiborne Farm.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use Naira Bets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. Naira Bets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NairaBets.com.
back on Saratoga Live. Thanks for being with us here on this Sunday afternoon as opening weekend continues here at Saratoga. Coming up, the Naira Bets late pick 5. Of course, it paid over $9,500 on Saturday. You can get in on the action with just a 50-cent minimum. It's exclusive to Naira Bets customers, New York on-track bettors, and those wagering with a New York simulcasting facility. The only way to play this wager, if you don't live in the state of New York, is to get signed up and started with NairaBets.com. All right, here comes our post parade for the first leg of this Naira Bets late pick 5. We start with She's Had Enough, Gary Contessa and Javier Castellano.
For Hot Scott Racing Stables, the lone 2 wins were wire-to-wire wins at Aqueduct.
Make a Little Love, the 2, has the rail for Mike Maker and Jose Ortiz aboard.
Has a lot of speed, but it's going to have to work out a trick from the rail as there's a lot of speed.
She's My Heart and Soul comes in off a win, Gate to Wire for Nick Esler, Angel Arroyo aboard.
This Rockport Harbor filly, she put on the blinkers last time, and it resulted in her 3rd victory. She improved a little bit, 32-1.
Todd Pletcher sends out Honor Way. Luis Saez in the irons.
Has tactical speed and comes out of a good race that produced several next out winners.
And some more speed here next door. And Court Me with Carrots, the 5, Kendrick Carmouche aboard for Danny Gargan.
1 for 40, drops back for 25. Possesses a lot of speed and could be the speed in a race full of it.
Our current favorite, yet more speed, ships in from Mountaineer Nisha, Irad Ortiz Jr. for Larry Ravelli.
Another speed signed on. I think she could be the speed of the speed.
Big long shot is the 7 here, Summer of Joy Paco Lopez for John Toscano Jr.
Could get a piece late here. She does have a little bit of a late pace. John Toscano, though, 1 for 41 last year at Saratoga.
And here's a Park Shipper, the 8 Star Studded for Alfredo Velasquez with Manny Franco.
A long shot seems impossible, but Freddie Velasquez can be sneaky.
Kissin' Cassie is the 9. It's Dylan Davis for Edward Barker.
1 for 1 at Saratoga, and Dylan Davis was riding very high coming into this meet, 28-1.
Turf to dirt move for the 10 Luna Rising for Kieran McLaughlin, Jose Lescano aboard.
Hoping that she can be successful stalking and closing today.
I thought Tainted Angel was going to be real tough in here. The 11, Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard for Rudy Rodriguez.
I'm with you. I thought the 11 and the 12 were the same in here, Greg. They both have closing styles, but they have to work out trips from the outside.
And 8-1 on the outside, it's Joel Rosario for Linda Rice on Gobi.
And does come back to the dirt today. Could be the preferred move here for Linda Rice.
Well, today, Naira launches Saratoga Showdown. It's a free online game allowing fans to test their skills against each other and win prizes. Today's game, a win, play, show challenge. Select your horses on SaratogaShowdown.com. You can also go to NairaBets.com or Naira.com and see if your name can climb that leaderboard. Prizes offered to the highest mythical bankroll after each race. And single race winners will be entered into a 2018 Belmont Stakes prize package worth over $2,000. I am entered. Did you two enter?
Yes. I entered. It was so easy to do it, too. So there's nothing stopping you.
Absolutely.
Really, and here's the deal. You could have your name above Andy Serling.
Reason enough to play. How about that, Maggie Wolfendale?
Well, I don't know if anybody would love that. I would certainly love it. That's for sure, having my name above Andy's in a contest. But taking a look at this field, we'll see how the outside runner Gobi does, as she is sitting at 8-1 currently, getting back to the dirt, as Gabby just said. And I think this is one of the best times I've seen this filly look. She's going to get the right kind of setup this time around, too. She was very dull acting 2 starts back. She was a little bit better in her last start, albeit that was on the turf, so I'm willing to forgive her for that. And today, she's even more kind of forward and into the bridle, and she gets Joel Rosario here today, and she just broke away from the pony, so he is actually giving her a bit of a warm-up. That's what this filly needs. I think Linda Rice has figured that out, that she needs an aggressive warm-up, so she breaks, she gets out of the gate, and at least isn't too far out of the game here. So we'll throw it back to Andy or throw it upstairs to Paul and Gabby.
And me. But okay. I'm gonna talk to you two about Gobi here more. So Rosario giving Gobi an aggressive warm up here for Linda Rice. Cut back in distance, turf to dirt, and I gotta say she makes a very nice appearance here.
Well, I mean, she's a horse last time they put her on the turf, and I think they tried to rate her on the turf. she didn't break well. She hasn't broke well in her last 2 starts. And last time she showed a little bit more interest. Now, rider changed from Rosario. Obviously, Ortiz was on the horse last time, but before that was Hector Diaz. The dirt starts are okay. You have to hope that you're going to get pace to run into.
Well, you see in the short comment that she stumbled out of the start 2 starts back in her last dirt try. To me, it kind of looked like she just lost interest, and she's not going to be able to get away with that from that outside post position.
No, that's true. And when you see this right here, this move's not going to work. She's going to have to be closer up than she was on this day. Now, does the mile turf race void that speed? Now, she's just picking up the pieces late. I just think there's so much pace in here. This race will fall apart somewhere.
Do you think 6, though, is her best distance?
No, I don't think it's her best distance. I do think they're trying something a little bit different. Linda Rice was giving strict instructions to Joel Rosario. I was wondering if you think she's telling him to stay a little bit closer. She looks well on the at least on the gallop or on the warm-up here, Gabby, so far.
That they're probably warming her up is that what Gabby was alluding to. 2 starts ago, she kind of took herself out of the race, and I have to think, Tom, that's one of the reasons they're doing it. Obviously, she's not fast enough to contend with all the speedballs in here, but like Paul is saying, they don't want her to lose contact with the field. They need to find a happy medium.
When you're watching a horse get a big warm-up on the racetrack before the race, there's 2 things they're trying to accomplish. They're either trying to accomplish getting a little bit more speed into the horse, which is exactly what I think is happening here with the 12 Gabi, or they're trying to loosen them up a little bit. The thing that Paul talks about, which is very, very pertinent in this race, is how much speed's in the race. I think the advantage may be to the outside horses because when that speed backs up, it's going to back up along the rail. These 2 outside horses, and I'm speaking of the 11 Tainted Angel as well as the 12 Gabi, those horses may have a clear trip, whereas our other favorite, On Our Way the 4, could be in the mix of having those horses back up right in her face.
It's a tricky situation, and guys, allude to the Kentucky Oaks. Today's track is sort of kind to horses with inside position, but like same thing with the Kentucky Oaks track, and yet you wanted to be an outside closer that day because Salty got buried inside.
Well, we'll see if that bodes well here for these horses from the outside post. The 11 we just got to look at as well, Tainted Angel. She probably not going to be near as far back as Gobi, and she comes in off a win at this very same level last time out.
I think it was a huge performance last time out, but she obviously did get the right pace scenario in front of her. She got a perfect trip stalking from off of it. The pace fell apart. But 2 things I like about her is that we were just talking about the overwhelming amount of speed. She's going to get that. She's probably going to get the same type of setup she got last time out, and she knows how to win. She's won 4 times out of 12 starts, and I think that's something that you really like to see in a horse.
The 2 races here were good too. I mean, she's got a 2nd and a 3rd, so that's got to be a little bit of confidence for the owners.
We talked about all the speed in this race. Gabby thought the 6, Nisha, however you want to pronounce it, might be the speed of the speed. Do you agree, Paul?
You know, it's tough to tell until they break because you never know. It's mountaineer speed, and the horse did go 46, 22 and 2. You know, went by 12 and a quarter. The horse was 3-5 that day. It might have surprised everybody at Arlington Park in an off-the-turf event when won that race at 8-1. But, I mean, this is a jog fest, but this is a totally different ball game than Saratoga. I know that Tom, I want to go back down to Tom to that set because, Tom, we were talking about this horse earlier. You don't love the way this horse here carries his head, or she does.
This is a co-favorite in our race, dropping in for claim off of a big allowance win. These big fillies and colts as well that carry their head high like Nisha does, oftentimes that can be related to a breathing problem. And when they're clear of horses, they breathe just fine. But when they're under pressure, it is a different ball game. My gamble here is that Nisha is not 100% in her airway, and I think 3-1 and now 5-2 in our favorite is just something I don't want to play.
I also think while the intention may be the speed, there's too many speeds this horse that are faster, and Irad Ortiz is not the kind of aggressive rider to outrun 5 other speedballs.
A bit of a red flag, certainly, as Tom pointed to. You win a 2 other than allowance. Now, granted, it was a Mountaineer, but then you drop in for a claiming tag?
I think this is a total lateral move because if you're looking at class from Mountaineer, Allowance Company, she was facing horses that were running against Allowance Company at Charlestown. So I think this is a lateral move.
No, certainly. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in terms of do you want to give the horse up and risk it when a horse won very nicely there?
Well, if they win this race with the purse, and if they claim it's $55,000, she's already got 26. Would they pay for her? $55. I think Mrs. Hope LLC would take that.
The Naira Bets late pick 5. It begins right here. 6 furlongs in this $25,000 claiming event. A wide open group. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown. For the call, Larry Colmus.
Next to load will be Court Me with Carrots, who's coming up to the starting gate now with Luna Rising. Nisha still holding sway, or was until the odds just changed, as On Her Way is now the 2-1 favorite. Tainted Angel is coming up to line. And that will leave Gobi to the outside stall to complete this field of 12. Traveling 6 furlongs here. Here's Gobi and Joel Rosario to the outside stall. Gobi just a bit reluctant to go into the starting gate here. Now comes up. Goes in, and they're all in line. They're off. Luna Rising comes out running strongly with Make a Little Love from the inside up to grab the lead. Court Me with Carrots is away running in third. And then it's Nisha fourth on the outside, followed by She's My Heart and Soul. She's Had Enough down toward the rail. Break of 2 back to Summer of Joy. They're being followed by On Her Way to the inside, and then it's back to Tainted Angel. Kiss and Cassie Star-Studded to the inside in Gobi. 22.41 was the quarter. Racing for the far turn, and it's Make a Little Love the leader. Court Me with Carrots alongside. Nisha comes up to them 3 wide on the far turn. She's My Heart and Soul is fourth. Luna Rising 3 wide and on the move now up into fourth and heading toward the pacemakers with a wide rally. And then comes She's Had Enough, followed by On Her Way, who's within 4 lengths of the front. As they come to the top of the stretch, the half was 46.5. They're into the stretch. Luna Rising ranges up on the outside and takes the lead from Nisha. Make a Little Love fights on. On Her Way is coming up to them on the outside. And in the center of the track, it's Tainted Angel. They're coming to the final 16th. On Her Way in front. Tainted Angel closing on the outside. Tainted Angel trying to get On Her Way. The two of them come down to the wire together. Head bobbing finish. Tainted Angel may have gotten there. On Her Way was right with her on the wire, and then came Nisha, followed by Gobi and Make a Little Love in 1 minute 12.25.
What a finish between these two to the wire. Tainted Angel, it looks like in the final stride.
A good ride here by Ricardo Santana Jr. Andy always talking about he's a good hustling rider. We thought this race would fall apart. Good call by you, Gabby. About 6 or 7 wide, the 11 did all the work here.
I really didn't think that she was going to get up in time because she made a little bit more of a delayed move than On Her Way. It looked like that Luis Saez got the jump on her, but she just dug into the finish. And we were talking about the pace scenario, right? We thought that Nisha potentially was going to be the speed of the speed. It looked like she leaned in at the break.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how she impacted the other speeds in this race.
3 through 6 really broke. 3 broke inwards, the 6 broke inwards, 3 broke outwards. So the 4 ran absolutely giant here because the break was not to her favor.
Yeah, I mean, Nisha completely would compromise Court Me with Carrots, the 5, who was some of that other speed as well. But down the stretch, Tainted Angel, as Ricardo Santana Jr. asking for every little bit extra out of his filly, and he just gets up for the win.
Yes, focus to the 3, 4, 5, and 6 right out of the gate. You're going to see immediate trouble right here. The 4 is going to take the worst of it, and it ends up being much the best. Just a little unlucky here on the drop. And, you know, was it a blessing in disguise to be that far back? Not for the 4 because, you know, she's got some tactability. The 11 got the job done at 5-1, though.
Oh, you mentioned that the Nisha coming in is immediately coming out of the gate. It affected Court Me with Carrots, but also the 3, She's My Heart and Soul, another horse who figured to be part of the pace, too.
Now, tough break there out of the gate, guys, downstairs, especially for On Her Way.
Yeah, I mean, On Her Way obviously would have won had she not had the trouble to start. The pace really, Tom, didn't develop as much as we thought it would. It wasn't that fast a pace, and the pace setter actually finished 4th. On Her Way was best, but Tainted Angel got the job done.
Yeah, look, I think for this level fillies, the pace was pretty hot, you know, and the right trip was to go around. not to try to fight the pace inside.
Yeah, your point before the race was very well taken. You don't want to get caught up in the traffic jam. I agree. It wasn't a slow pace, but it could have been really, really fast. And as it turns out, the closers got it done. Tough beat for Todd Pletcher on her way. It's tough to win at Saratoga.
Oh, quietly, Ricardo Santana Jr. having a real nice start to this Saratoga meeting. We're going to take a break. Next up, Claiborne Farm has a long and lasting legacy in the game, the birthplace of more than 75 champions. We'll visit with Managing Director Walker Hancock when we come back. Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
And what years were you a team manager on that? Is that the correct term?
Yes. Seasons.
Talk again. Talk to Tom a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got everything? What are we going to talk about? Okay. No, what are
there some things that you would like to bring up about the farm?
Tom, we got to let Walker talk by himself.
What's
count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I thought the 4 was going to stay up there. I know. Yeah, I know.
So if I said to you, okay, in 2014 you became managing director, you obviously were part of the team way before then.
Yes, that's right.
Talk about some of the things that have happened in your time there, like Claiborne 2010 years ago on the 100th anniversary of the farm. I mean, what kind of moment was that?
Well, yeah, I was in college there, but yeah, that was. Yeah, right. No, that was.
Fair enough.
Back on Saratoga Live here on Fox Sports 2. Never hurts to get a little help getting wins at Saratoga. Tainted Angel and the Connections will take it. $13.20 for the 5th win of her career in 13 starts. Trained by Rudy Rodriguez, Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard for the win for Leanna Stables. Let's head downstairs to the winner's circle with Maggie for more.
And Greg, she's actually 50% for Rudy, 5 for 10. Rudy, she just shows up every time you lead her over.
She just a nice, solid filly.
Do you need to get that? Let's see. Wait.
Hold on.
Oh, is it little Rudy?
Yeah.
Did we get the horse?
Did we get the horse? 7. Okay, very good. 7-way shake.
7-way shake on Nisha. Did you get her?
No, Michael Maker.
There you go. You heard it here. Rudy reporting live as the claim box is concerned. But back to your winner, Tainted Angel. She's just consistent as they come.
You know, Maggie, since we claimed, I thought we was in trouble with her, but, you know, she just nothing but good. You know, she was trying so good that we put him in the stay, and we almost steal the race. So, you know, after that, but nobody looked like won her. So I'm going to keep putting him in there. So, if they don't want it, I want him, and just let him win, you know?
You want the money. Want the money here, Rudy. And really, you know, things kind of set up well for, but were you a little bit apprehensive given the way the track seemed to be playing early on where speed seemed to be holding up?
You know, she adjusts to pretty much everything. Yeah. She's a very solid filly. I was a little concerned when they push him up to the outside because she's a little small. But, you know, at the end of the day, everything worked out perfect, and we come out as a winner.
Yeah, feeling good to get the win here at Saratoga, Rudy. Congratulations.
Thank you, Maggie.
Greg?
All right, Maggie, thanks. Tainted Angels, she's now won 3 of her last 5 starts. Impressive performance there. Rudy Rodriguez has a very nice role going with Tainted Angel, where no history of horse racing can be complete without the story of 3,000 unassuming acres in Paris, Kentucky. The stallion who put Claiborne on the map was Sir Galahad back in 1925, and then, of course, Secretariat. His syndication was a record of over $6 million, and that deal happened before he ever made a start as a 3-year-old. The tradition is continued with War Front, who sired the likes of Datalink, Declaration of War, Summer Soiree, and The Factor. It's been the home to 15 broodmares of the year, many priceless race mares. And, of course, Mr. Prospector, when he died in June of 1999, he was buried between Nijinsky II and the great Secretariat. Let's send it downstairs to Andy and Tom with a special guest and more on the continuing legacy of Claiborne Farm.
Thanks a lot, Greg. We're so happy to be joined by the managing director of Claiborne Farm, Walker Hancock. Welcome to Saratoga Live.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, is there any truth to the fact that you're only running a late in the stake so you could come to Saratoga for the weekend?
That might be part of it. No, love being here, and glad it worked out that way.
Yeah, and Claiborne Farm is a tremendous place, and it's actually the first farm that I visited. I think people should know anyone can make an appointment and actually go visit the stallions at Claiborne.
That's right. Yeah, we have tours at 10 and 11 a.m. every day, 7 days a week. Last year we had almost 10,000 visitors come through the gates, so this year we're hopefully, I think we're trending towards a little more than that. So. Yeah, we welcome all visitors.
Yeah, it's almost like a museum of the history of horse racing going there. And I think the last horse that people might remember more recently was Blame. Obviously, a huge win beating Zenyatta in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but also a very big win that year in the Whitney at Saratoga.
That's right. Yeah, he's one of my personal favorites. I worked at the yearling division when I was in high school, and he was in my barn as a yearling. So he's a personal favorite of mine, and that day was a special one for all of us, and very exciting.
Yeah, it was an incredible performance. Tom, you were probably here that day. Were you in Saratoga that day?
Oh, yeah, I was there. We covered that race and beat Zenyatta right on the line. A great performance. Did it on the 100th anniversary of the farm and did it in the home state of Kentucky. It had to be special.
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of guys from the farm there, and everyone was able to enjoy it.
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I went there the first time in '94, and actually 49er was still there. And now 49er and Seeking the Gold had that incredible battle in both the Haskell at Monmouth and up in Saratoga, that incredible driver. Must have been sort of funny because you guys obviously were 49er, but also the close relationship with the Phippses. There was really no loser in this race.
That's right, yeah. They had some big battles that year. Certainly, I don't really recall those years, but no, watching the replays of all those races, it was, I'm sure it was a fun summer for everyone involved.
And great stallions as well, both of them spending time at Claiborne Farm as well.
Well, that's right, yeah. 49er was, he's ended up in Japan. That's where he still resides today. But, you know, it was a great run that summer.
Yeah, and Seeking the Gold, he was always one of my favorite horses. He was a rebel. He actually broke his maiden, which is also before your time. The race after, I think, Personal Flag won the Widener at Hialeah. So it was a back-to-back sort of for the Phippses and the relationship. And pretty good stallion roster there right now.
Oh,
well.
yeah, thank you.
So you look at that stallion roster, Andy. I mean, that is a who's who. Blame, winner of the 2010 Breeders' Cup. You've got Orb, who now has, I think, three wins as a freshman sire, which is moving right along. Won today's first race with a baby
Impressive,
today, as a matter of fact.
And
Warfront, who, look, is a commercial international success. Everybody wants a Warfront.
That's right, yeah. No, he had a big weekend last weekend. Roly Poly won a Grade 1. Spirit of Valor won a Grade 2, so he continues success. You know, he kind of has a quiet winter because a lot of his horses race internationally. But, you know, he gets back on track once the spring gets going in the flat season. And, yeah, he's and here we're looking at Orbulation. She ran huge earlier today. We've heard a lot of good things about the Orb 2-year-olds, and certainly they're proving that on the track.
They certainly are. So, and let's talk about you. I mean, the farm is in great hands. You're a University of Florida graduate. You managed the football team for a couple of years there. And, I mean, look, that's 18-hour days, so you're used to those days at the farm as well.
That's right, early morning, especially those 2-a-days and the hot summer days in Gainesville. But, yeah, that was a good learning experience, and I've taken a lot of things I learned from those 2 seasons back to the farm.
Who was coaching at that time?
Urban Meyer. Yeah.
Urban Meyer,
Yeah.
wonderful man.
Yeah, we won the national championship my freshman year when I was a manager.
You're not wearing your ring.
No, it's pretty big. It's pretty gaudy. I don't think it really suits me.
Let's talk about Datalink as well. And Datalink, we see the farm going on there. Datalink is he has his first 2-year-olds this year.
That's right. Yeah, he actually has 2 runners today. I don't one at Ellis Park and I know one at Presky Isle. So he's had a nice winter down in Gulfstream, and I think the filly was unfortunate to win the stake down there at Gulfstream last month, but surely she'll get one. She'll knock them out sooner or later.
And you also got some good stuff going on the website as well, right? You've got some pretty cool stuff going on as far as the horses. The biggest eater is Datalink, we hear.
Oh yeah, we just did our stallion superlatives a few weeks ago. Yeah, he's a ham. He'll eat clean up every day, no matter what. And I think he loves grass. It was a lot of fun doing those superlatives.
I have to ask you a question about the state of our industry, of our breeding industry, particularly in the state of Kentucky. What do you think the biggest challenge is for our industry right now in 2017?
That's a good argument, or a big argument, but the breeding industry, it's solid, but the horses that stand for are 15,000 and under, the stallions, especially the second, third, and fourth crops, before they're really proven on the track. People tend to forget about them with the proven sires breeding such big books. We kind of struggle to get some to fill those kind of horses' books, but they're well-deserving horses that deserve every chance. But it seems like everyone wants them to prove it on the racetrack before they go back to them.
We know you've added Mastery, and he's going to be standing next year. Unfortunately, he'd been injured after his one start. He might have been as good a 3-year-old as was in the country. But you've got a 3-year-old that's been a bit enigmatic that's running in today's Coaching Club American Oaks. Elate's the kind of horse that's good enough to win that race. Can she put it together today?
I sure hope so. She's obviously in a tough field. She's up against the Oaks winner. Salty's a formidable opponent. But, we like our spot. She's doing well. She's been favored in every start she's made. She won her last race pretty handily. I know she only beat 3 rivals, but she's doing well, and we'll see what happens.
She was an exciting maiden winner at Aqueduct. Walker, thanks so much for joining us. It's great to see you in Saratoga, and we really appreciate the support that Claiborne Farm has shown to Saratoga and Belmont Live. So thanks a lot.
You guys do a great job, so we're glad to be sponsors.
Well, we're glad to have you on the team. Thanks so much. Let's head back upstairs to Greg.
Well, an incredible tradition at Claiborne Farm. We'll see how they fare in the Coaching Club American Oaks. They're homebred Elate has the inside post and maybe the pace in a paceless race. We'll be back.
Eclipse Award winner Blaine retired to stud with more than $4.3 million in earnings, including a historic victory over Zenyatta in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now he's making a name for himself as an internationally successful stallion. In 2017, his top runners include stakes winner No Fault of Mine, Japanese star Resonator, and classic winner Singa, the dominant victor of this year's Grade 1 French Oaks, Blaine at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live as opening weekend continues. A little extra incentive to come to the racetrack. I didn't get one of these hats.
We're good. I mean, I tell you what, one of the best giveaway hats I've seen in a while. A little white mesh, and it was hat day today.
Yeah, hat contest. 26th annual hat contest. Gabby, did you bring one?
I didn't, but I'm glad I didn't because I can't top any of those. Look at that one.
I thought you let her borrow yours.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Wow,
She even has a horseshoe on there. It looks like zebra, peacock, maybe a couple different animals going on there. I don't know.
It looks like the good luck Mr. T.
It does a little bit. If I was sitting behind her, I probably wouldn't like it quite as much.
True.
Yeah, there were winners of a few different categories, including a children's category as well. But it happens the first Sunday of every meeting here at Saratoga, so the tradition continues. It is late pick 4 time. We begin with 1 mile on the inner turf. New York breds in an entry-level allowance, and a horse who is 12-1 on the morning line has opened up as the current 3-1 favorite in here. That is Alabama Bound. But, Paulie, you like another one in here. We're going to talk about where you put your money. But also Sweet August Lady for Chad Brown, coming off a win and always dangerous.
Always dangerous is Chad. I misspoke a little bit earlier. 6,200 on the pick 4 a couple days ago. It was 1,200 yesterday. Still great payoffs. And you need to get involved at NyraBets.com. Almost going to be about 600,000 or 700,000 by the time we churn all the money, maybe even more. Yeah, I mean, you can't leave the 7 out of here, right? I mean, it's him, it's Chad, he wins these races. The 5 is getting bet because she might be the one to catch.
She could be. I did think that Breeze Got Heart had a little bit of natural speed, but talking about Sweet August Lady, Chad just has phenomenal stats with maiden winners last out on the turf. Now we're looking at your current favorite, Alabama. And Sweet August Lady, talking about those stats there, is specifically at Saratoga, guys. He's winning at about 28% with maiden winners last out, going a distance of ground on the turf at Saratoga. So you obviously, or 30%, you obviously have to keep this filly in consideration. And I think she's just well spotted here.
It's a phenomenal stat. It's a phenomenal. The hardest thing in racing is the first start against winners. That is a phenomenal stat.
Well, it hasn't impressed you that much because you're going to put your money elsewhere, right?
Well, I like the 10 in here, Votre Coeur. I hope I pronounced that right. For Rajiv Mirage and Leah Giamatti, this is a filly by flatter. You look at some of the turf races, a couple of them were off long layoffs, claimed out of the Chad Brown barn. When Chad had this horse in April and last year, a couple of those races win this. And I think this filly now finally in Leah's barn is able to string 2 turf races together, and you're getting almost 20-1. I think she's got a great look in here.
And that's a Claiborne Stallion, daughter of Flatter. So we shall see here, sticking with the theme, 19-1 on Votre Coeur. I didn't say it nearly as good as Paul. Maggie has more on the field as we get set for this late pick 4.
And a quick note on Votre Coeur before I get into my horses that I want to talk about. You may have seen her acting up a bit when she was saddled. She typically is that way, so it's nothing out of the ordinary for her to act up when being saddled. Leah very prepared to make sure she tries to assuage her from those naughty habits, but she's since calmed down. I want to start on the inside with number 1, Table for 6. I know this filly loves to be a bridesmaid. She really does. And then that's not typically horses you want to bet on, at least from a win perspective. But she does look very good here. Once again, she is second off a layoff. At least her one win does come over this Saratoga turf course. Now, last time she finished second, and she was able to get a perfect setup and still wasn't able to seal the deal. And today it seems as though there isn't that much speed signed on. So we'll see what Table for 6 does physically. I like her a lot, though. One of those horses that might be close is number 4, About That Base. Now, she is making her third start as a 3-year-old now. In each start she comes over, she looks more and more strong. She fills out her frame a little more, and she looks great here for trainer Todd Pletcher. I think she certainly has the right kind of running style for this group. And then one that's going to be a big price, coming off of a layoff, is number 11, Somerset Sandy. Now, she's primarily been a horse that George Weaver has kept at the sprinting distances, but he brings her back going long, which I find interesting. And maybe they're just using it for her to kind of get some fitness into her overall, but I will say, she looks very fit to me, and this is a filly who does, or has in the past, had a little trouble kind of coming over here and looking fit, and she looks very fine-tuned here. This is the best I've seen her look, and physically, I'm not opposed to her going, especially this 1 mile distance, and she should be fresh and should be forwardly placed here. But Andy and Tom, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, the speed is obviously interesting. I don't think there's a slow pace, but it'll be interesting to see, is Alabama Bound going to be the one who sets the pace? Will Breeze Got Heart put pressure on her? How much pace will there be? I do think Alabama Bound, Tom, appears to be a horse that is finally rounding into form.
Yeah, I can give you that, but I think there is a lot of pace in here, and this is a horse that, although went pretty quick last time, certainly faltered at the end of that last race. Even to the inside, about that base, to me, is a horse that's going to show more speed today than she did last time. And you can look outside of Alabama Bound as well, particularly,
the 9 Breeze Got Heart is the one that can
I'll
show
give
speed.
you that.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's very hard. You just don't know who's the one who's going to be aggressive. Alabama Bound is best when she is controlling. I imagine they will go. I'm hoping she can do it. 3-1, though, obviously not a great price. Now, the one Tail for 6, and Maggie alluded to this. She is a bit of a bridesmaid. We'll talk about her a bit much more after the post parade.
All right, we hear the call to posts behind us. So here comes our post parade for a wide open 8th race. We are going to start with Table for 6 to kick things off, who certainly caught Maggie's eye in the paddock. John Velasquez aboard for trainer Ralph Nix.
Table for 6 is a bit of a bridesmaid. 5 seconds and 2/3 and 10 starts with 1 win, but she's good enough to win this race, and this is just her 2nd start of the year.
Yeah, Andy, we know David Donk had a real hot late meet at Belmont, and he sends out a last-out winner here in Emiliana's Hope.
Gets a lot tougher, though, off of wins to repeat, and she got a perfect trip against much weaker last time.
About that base for Todd Pletcher, Javier Castellano aboard.
This is one that had a bad trip last time. Couldn't get out to run. Look for improvement today.
Alabama Bound, that speed did not last at 1 1/16 last out. Shortens up to a mile here for Thomas Bush.
And they got one way to go. They got to go to the front. We'll see if there's much more pressure. I'm taking her to wire the field, though 3-1, a bit short.
Chad Brown and Joel Rosario team up with Sweet August Lady.
She will have to improve off her maiden win to get it done. But one of the reasons Chad Brown has nice stats off of maiden wins is he does get them to improve.
Kendrick Carmouche can be aggressive at times, and Puppery has shown some pace in the pass for Edmund Pringle.
Yeah, on the one hand, she broke from an extreme outside post last time. That's the plus, but she really has to improve to be a factor.
Breeze Got Heart is the 9 at 14-1. It's Dylan Davis aboard for Robert Reed Jr.
Her last race out of town was actually good enough to win this race where she stalked. She figures to be in a contending position early, and she's back in with New York breds.
Paul's top play is Votre Coeur, the 10, and we're going to see here momentarily. There's the 9, though. Breeze Got Heart. We got a little ahead of ourselves here, and there's Dylan Davis at 14-1.
Yeah, as we were saying, a repeat of her last race, if she could bring that Parks effort to Saratoga. She's a big-time player in this race, and she's a big price.
Been in the money in 8 of 10 career starts. Here's the 10. Here's Rajiv Mirage for Votre Coeur.
Yeah, Paul talked about this filly, and, she closed well in her last, but she's going to need speed early in this race to set up for her late kick.
Second start of 2017 for Somerset Sandy for trainer George Weaver.
Makes her second start of 2017, albeit with a little bit of a break between starts. Is she necessarily suited to this distance?
The 12 silly numbers, Jose Lezcano and Jimmy Ryerson team up.
Yeah, she was only beaten 3.5 lengths in a New York bred stake last time. This is a much more sensible spot for her today.
And do not forget the also eligible 8th Commandment does get into the field. Another David Donk runner with Eric Cancel aboard.
Like the other Donk runner, she comes off a win. Others had trouble in that race. The water gets deeper, and the post is not easy.
All right, so Andy, how are you going to play this race?
Well, keep in mind, I was assuming the 5. I didn't know if I get 10-1, but I thought I'd get more in the 6 to 8-1 range. So I'm hoping she goes up. I don't think 5-1's a bad price on her. We'll bet $20 to win Alabama Bound and hope she can somehow clear early.
It takes a lot more money for them to go to Alabama these days.
All right, late pick 4 coming up, just shy of $500,000 in the pool. Saturday was special for Irad Ortiz Jr., a 4-win day, including a stakes sweep of the Sanford and Diana. We'll have a stakes recap of Firenze Fire and Lady Eli when we come back on Saratoga Live.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
Eclipse Award-winning Songbird was bought at Saratoga Fasig-Tipton. Where will you be this August?
Eclipse champion Stellar Wind is a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga grad. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
And they're off in New York. The premier state bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Dakota, they won't catch Monin. Monin wins the February Stakes.
You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program. The best program.
Back on Saratoga Live as opening weekend festivities continue here at the premier meet in all the country here at Saratoga. Want to remind everyone to keep playing with Naira Bets after the Saratoga card ends with a 250,000 point all split on the 5th at Del Mar. Just bet a $10 base exacta and race 5 at Del Mar and win or lose. Split 250,000 points, an easy way to get your Del Mar betting off to a great start. Head to NairaBets.com. It is racing's best play. Late pick 4 coming up as we get a look here at Sweet August Lady. We show you Chad Brown's numbers off maiden wins, and they were impressive. And here is that maiden score back on June 22nd.
And this was a handy performance, just all considering that this was her first time on the turf. She took back from off of the pace as she regathered herself to close and get up in the nick of time just to win by a half length that day. And look, Chad's tough in this type of position. She's lightly seasoned. She doesn't have a lot of experience, but sometimes that gives her a little bit of an upper hand. So this was a good win, and I think that she is a must-use.
I'm with you. You could tell she got a little green there late, swapped back to her other lead. She looked like she got a tiny bit tired. She took a bad step there after the wire. You can't miss her with that big white face. She'll be rolling late.
Tell me this game's not this easy. That you see a horse who could be lone speed and is going to go gate to wire, shortening up from a mile and 1/16 to a mile.
Well, there's somebody downstairs that likes that.
Andy?
Thoughts in the 7, Sweet August Late. Chad has decent numbers off of maiden wins. He's particularly good with the New York breds, but he has good numbers all around. This one did not beat that much last time. I think she's got to improve to win this race. The question is, I think, who are the other choices? I think she can win because of Chad, but she's not a great bet at 3-1.
No, so she had a perfect trip in that maiden race. Was never impeded at any time. When she wanted to get out, she got out. It was literally 5 horses to the wire until the last 16th of a mile. And she's going to have to run against a group that's done what she has already done. So although Chad's numbers are really good, I think she's a bit up against it today.
Yeah, I picked her out of respect. I picked her second. I prefer the 5 in here. And 5-2, I think if you like Chad Brown horses, you just never really get paid. Yesterday there were 2, so one of them paid okay. But this one is no bargain at 5-2.
Yeah, let's not forget Penjade. Every once in a while, if Chad Brown has multiple horses in a race, sometimes you can get paid. We have a new audience joining us, and joining us just in time for the start of this late pick 4. Welcome to Saratoga Live. Abel Tasman, winner of the Kentucky Oaks, going to be the big favorite in the coaching club, American Oaks. Salty has faced her twice, have come up short both times. Will the third time be a charm? But the homebred for Claiborne Farm elates the inside slot and could be the pace of the race. The annual hat contest taking place here this Sunday of opening weekend at Saratoga. Oh, and Lady Eli, an incredible, gutsy performance down the lane. Had to survive a steward's inquiry, but goes out a winner in her final start at Saratoga. Likely 2 more starts in her career, likely at Belmont, and then some unfinished business in the Breeders' Cup and the Filly and Mare Turf. I want to remind everyone to play along as you watch these races. Get signed up and started with a Naira Bets wagering account. Go to NairaBets.com. If you bet $200, you get $200 in your account. Use the promo code PICK5 to take advantage. You can get signed up with Naira Bets anywhere across the country to get started. With more on Race 8 that will kick off our late Pick 4, let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Greg, thank you. As we'll take a look at a filly who spend that much time with New York breds as she's trying this other than for the state breds here once again. For trainer Butch Reed, that's number 9 in here. Breeze Got Heart, only 3rd time here on the turf, and time she tried it was over a yielding course at Aqueduct. That's a weird type of surface to get over, and it oftentimes won't give you a true indication of if a horse really likes the going or not. And furthermore, she was way far out of it in that course also. You don't want to be in that position. Last time out at Philly, albeit she did run well over the surface. I want to give her another try here on the grass. She looks great to me, and just physically she looks like a filly, as I've always thought should take to this surface. So I don't know. I think you can kind of fish around here, guys, for some prices. It's a fairly wide open event.
He raced on the turf, too. She's only had a couple of starts in that second try. Granted, it was at Parks, but she really woke up on the grass.
I really like her. She's my top selection in here because she has limited tries on the turf. She's decently bred to like the turf. And if you go back and watch that trip, it was actually kind of a reckless ride by Frankie Pennington when they were rounding the bend just after the quarter pole, kind of lugged out a bit, bumped other horses down the stretch, and I thought that it caused a little bit of an issue for her performance. But now she has second-time blinkers. The second-place finisher came back to win at Monmouth with a really good Beyer speed figure, so I think she's going to get that tracking trip off the speed and hope for the best.
Well, blinkers are the key. I mean, she did improve, and don't forget, Robert Reed can train a racehorse. I mean, before there was a Breeders' Cup Marathon, he won that race at a giant price. So he can train a turf horse, train a horse going the distance. This one going to cut back to a mile. Yeah, whether she can get the lead over the 5 or if they go at each other, Dylan Davis can finish.
And, yeah, he had a tremendous Belmont meet, especially in some turf races. We saw that 4-horse there. I know, aside from the back fact, you're a big Megan Trainor fan. Todd Pletcher starting to heat up a little bit here.
Well, this is a scary horse. This 3-year-old filly, if you look at her form, there's a couple running lines, and you look at her last race where you could see she could be really tough to beat her.
And Tom, you had mentioned you thought that one might be close early.
The one, Table for 6. Had a great race and a comeback race at Belmont. Should improve here. She's knocking on the door. Ought to be a hunch play for Andy. He lost 5 dinners, so a Table for 6 will do, Andy.
No, Gabby gets no dinner. She doesn't pay. Gabby's excluded. She'll have to sit in the outside the window and look in as we eat.
Andy Serling continuing to make more and more friends, isn't he? Let's send it upstairs. The start of this late Pick 4. Chad Brown with the favorite. Larry Colmus with the call, the 8th here from Saratoga.
And here comes 8th Commandment up to the outside stall to complete the line here. 5-2 right now on Alabama Bound, the current favorite. They're all in line. And we've got one acting up. Pumpery's a little bit restless. Settles down. They're off. Table for 6 broke well. There goes About That Base to grab the lead with Alabama Bound. And on the outside, it's Somerset, Sandy. And now these two take over. And About That Base will sit 3rd. And then it's back to Sweet August Lady running in 4th, moving for the turn. 3 wide into that turn comes Silly Numbers. Saving all the ground there is Table for 6 in behind the leaders down toward the hedge. And then it's Pumpery and Emiliana's Hope. A break of another 2. Back to 8th Commandment racing on the outside of Breeze Got Heart. And the trailer is Vote to Recur. 24.42 was the first quarter. Alabama Bound leads Somerset, Sandy a length and a half up the backstretch. About That Base is 3rd, 3 lengths from the front. And then it's Table for 6, fourth on the inside, followed by Sweet August Lady, Paparie, Emiliana's Hope. Silly Numbers is 6.5 lengths off the lead. Clear up the backstretch of 8th Commandment, and then comes Breeze Got Heart, and Votre Curve 49.28 was the first half mile. Racing for the far turn, Alabama Bound leads the way by 1.5 lengths over Somerset Sandy. Table for 6 and about that base are together. About that base now takes third. Set Sail 3 wide for the pacemakers. Sweet August Lady is next on the outside. Paparie, Emiliana's Hope cuts the corner. Silly Numbers is next. They're into the stretch. Alabama Bound still the one to catch from Somerset Sandy. Slipping through his Table for 6 through an opening on the inside. These three take off for the wire. And here comes Somerset Sandy. Somerset Sandy and Table for 6 down to these two. Somerset Sandy at 20-1 over Table for 6. And then it was Alabama Bound and Sweet August Lady in 1 minute 36.12 seconds.
Ricardo Santana Jr. is having a really nice meet here. He does it again on a huge price. Somerset Sandy for George Weaver here to start off the late pick 4.
You don't need to hit your point if you're Ricardo Santana. Rolling 11s in back-to-back races here. And Somerset Sandy has had a nice trip in here at 20-1, and it's going to get to the wire first. This is the horse that Maggie mentioned.
Exactly. Hats off to Maggie. She really liked this horse in the paddock. And hats off to Ricardo Santana. We have seen over the past couple of days some riders taking an unaggressive approach to certain races, and he has been aggressive in the afternoons, and it has been paying off.
He did a great job of hurrying the pace up a little bit on Alabama Bound, then making it into basically a 2-horse race. Table for 6 ran great. I know Tom mentioned that horse right towards the end, rolled up the rail and did improve. But yeah, if you're off to a good start in your pick 5, a great start in your pick 4.
Yeah, Andy, Tom, it was I should say is the 5 here, Alabama Bound. Got some easy fractions up front and no one going with this horse. It looked pretty good for him.
Well, nobody went with her. The 11 went with her. No, the Alabama Bound was a no-excuse third. She didn't run well at all. A couple of things. First of all, the one in an absolutely perfect trip, and she just finished where she wants to finish, Tom. She finished second.
Be careful with that statement.
She doesn't want to pass horses.
Be careful with that statement. Today she was blinkers off, and she hesitated going inside the 5-horse. Look for those blinkers to come back on Table for 6.
And she'll finish second again the next time. She got a dream trip.
Well, that'll be another dinner we can have.
I love Ricardo Santana. This guy won with big prices last year. He came here with no business, and he won on big prices, and Gabby hit the nail on the head. This guy's aggressive. The 9 Breeze Got Hard, who Gabby liked, whether she won or lost, I know Gabby and both, I agree with her, assumed she'd be forwardly placed. She was third to last. Now, maybe she had trouble at the start. I didn't see it. But Ricardo Santana was aggressive, and that's why he won the race.
And his statistics are getting better and better on the turf. They haven't been that good to this point, so this is a real feather in his cap.
This guy can flat out ride.
Somerset Sandy 20-1 to kick off this late pick 4. Ricardo Santana Jr. picks up another win. We're going to take a break. As game as they come, Lady Eli, as track announcer Larry Colmus proclaimed, showed she truly was dauntless in the Diana. We'll be back.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before. You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 as opening weekend continues here at Saratoga. Late pick 4 is underway with Ricardo Santana Jr. guiding Somerset Sandy, the 4-year-old filly by Scat Daddy, to the winner's circle at a monster price.
Congratulations to Parkland Thoroughbreds here. Cheryl Prudhomme and Mr. Dr. Michael Gall. New York bred gets the job done here, 43.80. And look at that double if you're live in that Naira pick 5. Yes, $167 for a dollar wager.
Standing by with one of the hottest riders here at the meet early on. Let's go to Maggie.
He's certainly one of the leading percentage riders here, Greg. And Ricardo, off to a big start. It doesn't matter what the price. You ride every horse like they're even money.
You know, first I have to say thanks God and thank you for trying to give it to me the opportunity and that kind of horses. You know, I like to try hard for everybody, and I love what am I doing. You know, I love what you do.
It shows. It absolutely, truly does. And Somerset Sandy, a filly that you rode actually last year, they opted off the bench to stretch her out. Were you confident in that she'd handle the mile distance today?
I ride her 2 times last year here in Saratoga, and I always was feeling that she need to go along because she don't have the speed for keep going when I sprint the horses. And today, I ride her with a lot of confidence because I know that she has a lot of talent.
And Ricardo, you have based yourself in Oaklawn, for instance. That doesn't have a turf course. It seems as though you're really kind of gaining confidence, though, over the New York turf courses.
You know, I have a lot of people helping me, you know, and teach me how to ride on the turf. I like to listen to a lot of old riders, you know, they have a lot of experience, and they're starting to work out, you know.
Who's helping you in there?
I have a Ramon Dominguez, I got Junior Cordero, I have a Jose Santofather, and I got a lot of people that, you know, give it to me the little dirt for put it together, you know.
Well, it's certainly paying off. Congratulations here, your second win in a row on today's card.
Thank you so much.
Greg?
Good for Ricardo Santana. You start winning races here at Saratoga. People start taking notice, and you start getting a few more clients coming around. Well, yesterday, 2-year-old colts were on display in the Sanford, and it was Firenze Fire with a surprise here at 12-1. Jason Service said afterwards, I think he'll get 7/8. Talking about the hopeful, even said, I think he can get a mile, maybe even a mile and a quarter.
What a great story this was. The mare they bought to race for $25,000. They couldn't race her. They bred her to Poseidon's Warrior, and this is what they got, Gabby. a Sanford winner.
Exactly, and this was pretty impressive. We saw both our 2-year-old graded stakes so far at the meet be taken by outsiders, so to speak. The filly, Dream It Is, actually coming from Woodbine, and him, Frenzy Fire, coming from Monmouth. But that was a good-looking victory, and Jason Service, well, he sure knows how to train a racehorse.
This was the first winner, Frenzy Fire, of the sire Poseidon's Warrior, and now the first black-type winner as well, and the first foal of the Langfear Dam, My Every Wish.
Crazy. I mean, just a great story. And it was mentioned to Maggie right after the race. Jason mentioned it. Holy cow, this is a great story. To be training forwardly for this race. And you made a great point when you said such a great trainer. He mentioned it right after the race. I wouldn't have pointed the horse here if he wasn't doing well.
And we often talk about pace scenarios in 2-year-old races, and we think that it's going to maybe be a very contentious pace up front. We saw Baffin for Steve Asmussen kind of go loose on the lead, but you always like to see that rating gear, that closing gear, and that's what we saw from Frenzy Fire. It's very encouraging moving forward to 7/8.
Yeah, we could see him again on September 4th for the Hopeful as well. In the Diana, we had a lot of drama before the gates even opened because they opened before the race even started in this race. Stablemates Antono and Lady Eli, posts 2 and 3. Not what you want to see if you're Chad Brown and the connections.
This was an unbelievable situation. Antono basically, I would say, jogged about 100 yards or so. Lady Eli, the assistant starter, both the assistant starters, by the way, did a phenomenal job.
Thank you for pointing that out.
By the way, I actually ran into the assistant starter of the two last night. His name is Nicky Casado. He almost hurt his arm very badly, and this is amazing what happened after.
And you see Lady Eli didn't break all that well, broke a little bit on her toes. Here's the call from Larry Colmus.
Impression is third. Javier Castellano has Antono down on the rail. Irad Ortiz brings Lady Eli up alongside of her now. And now these two stablemates are stride for stride, still 4th and 5th. Around the far turn, Kedora. Dickinson a half length behind. My Impression's under pressure. Antono comes through on her inside. Lady Eli on her outside. And they both storm for home together. They're into the stretch. Kedora in front. Here's Lady Eli charging on the far outside. Antono sneaks through an opening at the fence. Kedora's fighting hard. Lady Eli comes at her from the outside. Antono comes at her from the rail. The three of them battle it out to the wire in the Diana. Here's the finish. It is the dauntless Lady Eli. She has defeated Kedora.
So gamble. She breaks through the gate before the race, stumbled a little bit out of the gate, and then had to survive a steward's inquiry as well. Andy, after the race, Chad Brown said maybe the best race she's ever run.
Maybe it is. She's run so many good races, I wouldn't know where to sort of place them all, but you have to appreciate just good horses like this, and this was a great race, Tom.
It was a great race. She's in the conversation for Horse of the Year. If she can keep doing this all year long, and don't think that the voting isn't partly sentimental. And how can you not root for a filly like Lady Eli?
Well, I agree with that. Clip scores mean absolutely nothing to me. I've seen so many horses get the wrong horse win, and that. I'll just say she's in the conversation for most thrilling racehorse running.
No, I think she's in the conversation for Horse of the Year.
And also, even as a bettor, I mean, listen, I vote with my money, and I root with my money, but there's some horses you just have to root for, and Lady Eli is one of those horses.
Absolutely. She knows where the finish line is, and, there was an inquiry after the race, and it was a little tight at the end there. I never heard any blowback. I think the stewards got it exactly right.
I agree. I think there's an argument that she came in a bit, but I don't believe it affected the order of finish. I think the stewards made the absolute right call.
Well, here's Chad Brown on the drama that took place before the gates opened.
Prior to the race, give us some nervous moments there with both horses breaking through the gate. You never want to see that in any race, especially at Grade 1. So I was quite nervous, and I was curious to see how they were going to handle that. And both horses, Lady Eli and Antono, still ran their race, which I was relieved to see. And Lady Eli just found a little bit more than everyone else. Both horses came out good. I'm real pleased this morning, and enjoying the win yesterday, and just take it day by day and see how they train in the weeks to come and see what's next for both of them. You just want everything to go right. You know how good these two horses are, especially with Lady Eli, everything she's been through and how careful we manage her. You just don't want anything to go wrong at all. So, when she finally put her head on the wire first, it was a big relief for all of us. It's a huge win, and there's a lot to be thankful for, but it's early in the meet. We have a lot of other horses to prepare, so there's not a whole lot of time to sit back and reflect. We just go on to the next day, and that's what you have to do, especially here at Saratoga.
Let's not forget, she was conceding 8 pounds to Kadura. She had a wide trip as well. She overcame that little stumble at the start and just digs in, and in the end collects the 5th grade 1 of her career. As we take a look here, what's trending, it's from Barbara Livingston, Antoneau, and Lady Eli, and that start before the gates open, breaking through. Great picture right there.
That's an incredible shot, and not surprised that it's by Barbara Livingston. She does a fantastic job. But as Paul was saying, fantastic job by the assistant starter to actually hang on to Lady Eli. Unfortunately, Antoneau got away, but it all wound up happening. Okay.
Meanwhile, Larry Colmus, such a thrill to call. Lady Eli, they just don't come any braver. And Paul, she absolutely showed grit down the lane.
She really did. She showed a ton of grit. And if you go back and you look at the top of that stretch and go back and look at that race, Irad Ortiz Jr. took a peek to the left. I think he always knew he had Kadura. He was worried about Antoneau coming up the inside. But yeah, what a tremendous call by Larry. Tremendous from start to finish what happened to the end.
Well, we want you to get social with us. Those are all our places you can find us on Twitter. Chad Brown, by the way, said to Irad in the paddock, he said, just get her in the clear in the stretch. That's all I want. I'm confident she'll get there. It took a steward's inquiry, but in the end, she did. 9th win of her career, 5th grade 1 for Lady Eli. Truly sensational in the first grade 1 of the meet Saturday in the Diana. We got more fireworks coming up. The Coaching Club American Oaks Consulti give Abel Tasman a run for her money. We'll find out next.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
They're off in New York, the premier state-bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Dakota, they won't catch Monin. Monin wins the February Stakes.
You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program. The best program.
You're watching Saratoga Live as we get set for race 9. 15 minutes to post, and then the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks. Some more from the hat contest from earlier today. 26th annual hat contest here at Saratoga. That had to be a winner.
I think it was.
It was lucky. Horseshoes facing the right way.
The New York Racing Association is unmatched with its Spanish language broadcast options. Luis Grandison providing pre-race analysis available on the NYRA Now app, all in HD, and calls, of course, of every race on the card. Here's Songbird in last year's Coaching Club American Oaks.
Metiendo adentro contra Karina Mía, Songbird impone su categoría y va dominando The Coaching American Hogs por 2 cuerpos, 3 cuerpos, está botando Mike Smith con Songbird, que está ganando su 9ª carrera en forma consecutiva y mantiene su invicto. La pensionista de Jerry Ollinger, segunda está arribando Karina Mía, tercera está arribando Floradora.
Mike Smith.
Doesn't get old, does it?
No, I could hear it all day long.
Know, right?
And, of course, Mike Smith back to try and do it again with another 3-year-old filly. He'll be aboard Abel Tasman, your Kentucky Oaks winner, later today in the Coaching Club American Oaks. And every day, NYRA Bet's offering a 10% winner's bonus on your trifecta bet on a selected stake. Today, hit the try on your mobile device on the Coaching Club American Oaks and earn a 10% winner's bonus. Go to NYRABets.com, the official betting site for Saratoga Racecourse. And, of course, you can get signed up and started all across the country. All right, this 9th race coming up. It is a 5.5 furlong turf sprint, and both you two seem to be a little intrigued by Annabelle Appeal and the speed she possesses from post 3.
She swallows a lot of money at the window. Let's be honest there. Okay, she's been favored 7 out of the last times she's hit the post, but she's won 3 of those times. And here's the deal: she's the speed of the speed. I love that she gets the inside draw. And the other speed for me is the 1 in here, and I think she'll be able to put that one away early. If she breaks sharp enough, I think Irad gets to the front, and I think she's gone.
She'll be able to keep her at bay, talking about more royalty towards her outside. But I agree with you, Paul. I think Animal Appeal is the speed of the speed. She was actually cross-entered in the Caress tomorrow, but this is a much better spot for her. 2 starts back, she wasn't herself. Last time out, she was herself, and I think she can dictate here.
He's the second choice on the board right now at 3-1. With more on this field, let's head downstairs to the paddock with Maggie.
And guys, I think the theme of this race is out-and-out speedball sprinter types, those 5.5 type of fillies versus ones that might be looking to capitalize on any kind of pace meltdown we see, those of which are turning back. And we'll actually begin with 2 fillies coming off layoffs that are trying a shorter distance than what they've competed over in recent times, including number 12, Ginger and Rye for Horacio de Paz. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot from this trainer in the future, as he's already made quite a splash here at Saratoga and in stakes company as well. Horacio does very good work. Every horse I see come over is just extremely well conditioned, but healthy on top of that. And I think that Ginger and Rye looks way better now as a 5-year-old. She's really just put on weight and held her weight well. Now, maybe it's an indication that she'll need a race, and the fact that he brings her back going this distance, and it looks as though she might be a little more proficient going longer, but I'm not opposed to it, and I think she could run sneaky well here coming off the bench. Now, another one that is coming off of a layoff is number 5, Wit, owned by Claiborne Farm, and Adele Dilschneider for Christophe Clement. She looks fantastic, and I like her at the 5.5 distance. I think she's built more for it. She's a very stocky type of filly, more of that quarter horse kind of frame to her. And furthermore, last time she got a little revved up pre-race, and today she's been holding it together, and certainly her connections have done everything they can to keep her calm. They have the pony with her, they have the cotton in her ears, and I like her coming back off a bit of a layoff. And then a new face, one of those kind of out-and-out speedballs, is number 7, Night Delight for Linda Rice. Weird race she comes out of at Suffolk, going the 5/8 here. It's kind of strange, too, that Linda has never really raced her in New York. She does look very fast. She looks very well in the flesh. She's very well conditioned, but she is just an out-and-out type of 5. We'll see if she can get the 5.5 furlongs here today. But Andy, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, it's not an easy race. The 3 is going to be the likely speed, assuming she breaks. A couple of horses. I think the 9, Miss Katie May, is actually the horse to beat in this race. I'm trying to beat her. I put her 4th, not because I'm against her, but because I thought there were interesting price horses. She probably should have won last time, Tom.
Yeah, no, she got stuck, and she really took off when she got out of that spot. You know, Browse was in that race with her last time. Browse came back, was an unlucky loser in a 2 other than allowance race on the grass.
She's sort of behind horses right now in 6 in the white cap, and she just doesn't really get a chance to do her running. I mean, I think it's a little unlucky by Jose, kind of stuck in there. As you can see, once she gets a seam, she blasts through. And the winner got an absolutely dream trip, and the winner's a pretty good horse.
When you see the rider move his hands, that's when you know he's finally able to call upon the horse, and that was about 100 yards ago, and look at that kick. That's a really good kick. But if you want to falter, it might be this distance, 5.5 furlongs. This might be a little too short for her.
We'll see. See, that's a possibility because she hasn't had success at it in this country. Rumble Doll is the one, the 10, that I consider a big price. She's a deep closer, but she's better at 5.5 than 7. I think 7 mutes her kick. She was in that race as well, and I think she's a long shot that's going to be reckoned with. She's going to come running late and has run well at Saratoga before.
Here comes our post parade. Paul and Gabby talked about the speed of the 3. This one's going to put some heat on that one, surely. More royalty, Javier Castellano for Ralph Nix.
Didn't run that bad last time out to this great filly, considering it was a 15-month layoff. Probably going to be fitter today.
A lot of stops and starts in the running line, so it should be maybe some issues here, but healthy enough to run this afternoon. Spelker, owned by Wes Welker and Kent Spellman, trained by Wesley Ward with John Velasquez.
Was a little rank at 7/8 last time out. I kind of like her on the cutback at a price.
Animal Appeal, this speedster for Jeremiah Engelhardt, has Irad Ortiz Jr. in the irons.
Always on her toes. She's going to do her running early in here. Jeremiah's gotten off to a good start to this meet, and so has Irad Ortiz Jr. Had a 4-bagger yesterday.
And another Wesley Ward runner, this one with Paco Lopez aboard Red Lodge.
A long shot, looks to probably be sitting mid-pack today.
With sent out by Christophe Clement, has Julien Leperoux aboard and won the nightcap yesterday.
The Claiborne Homebred has won a couple good races on the turf. Now going to cut back to sprinting. Last time at 7 furlongs. Might have been a little too long. Maybe the 5.5, you see this horse close late.
Second start of the year for Louisville first for Jimmy Toner with Eric Cancel.
Cuts back in distance, second time out of the Jimmy Toner barn. Last time she sprinted, she won.
Night Delight comes in from Suffolk for Linda Rice with Manny Franco.
I think maybe the other speed in here, another horse in here that's for the tag. 2 horses in here for the 62.5. This is one of them.
Always dangerous on the turf. Trainer Tom Proctor, Glen Hill Farm, Florent Giroux aboard the 8 Most Beautiful.
Comes out of the same race as Miss Katie May, and just wondering if this might be a little bit too short for her.
Miss Katie May is the 9 Jose Ortiz for Grand Motion.
Guys downstairs talking about her. Her issues are at the gate. About 4 or 5 times, she just breaks flat-footed. If she breaks well, she's going to be tough.
Well, they talked about downstairs the tough trip with the 9. The 10 was in that same race, had a real tough trip. Joel Rosario blinkers off on Rumble Doll.
Was way too far back to make an impact. I hope she sits a little bit closer to the pace today.
Sunny Sammy, the 11 Luis Saez for trainer George Weaver.
3rd racetrack and actually 4th racetrack in the last 4 starts, and George Weaver looking for a double on the card.
Yeah, had that 20-1 shot in the last race, and then Ginger in Rye. It's going to be the 5-year-old debut for the trainer Horacio De Paz.
I don't worry about this filly's fitness as Horacio De Paz prepares these fillies well. Just distance is a concern.
So that's your field for race 9, wide open group. For more, let's go to Maggie.
With owner of Miss Katie May, Bill Krager of Buttonwood Farm. And Bill, you are just passionate about horse racing. You have your own little farm in Pennsylvania as well, and breeding and racing seem to be what you like to do.
Yeah, it's great. Sport's been in my family for a long time. Just honored to be part of it. And then the fact that we can race here at Saratoga is just such a special thing for us. Whole family's into it. We're all here. We just love it.
And you recently purchased a home here in Saratoga. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're a couple of blocks from the track. It's a beautiful home. Be able to spend time, all year here, but especially during the race season. It's great. My kids love it here, so hopefully, this makes them permanent residents here in Saratoga. It's great.
Are they fans of horse racing as well?
Huge. My son, my daughters all go to the sales with us. They're all part of the naming. My son thinks he knows more about picking a good horse than I do, which is probably right.
And about your filly's chances here?
We like her a lot. She ran last time at Belmont, got a little unlucky. We were going to enter her in a grade 3 next week up at Woodbine. So, I think she's ready. She's named after my youngest daughter, Katie. So we're super excited. I think she's got a good shot.
I think she does too. Bill, best of luck here.
Thank you, Maggie. Great.
Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. We're 5 minutes to post here in race 9. We're going to take a break. It's one of those moments you're probably going to remember for the rest of your life, where you were when you watched one of the biggest upsets in horse racing history. We'll talk Arrogate in the San Diego when we come back.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. I came to the spa and all I got was this awesome hat on Hat Giveaway Day.
I'm going to tell you, one of the best giveaways I've seen. One of the best hat giveaways I've seen.
I have not seen you this fired up about a giveaway in a long, long time.
What do you mean? You told me to take off a couple spectators' hats so you could have one.
I know. I do need to get one. Hopefully there's a couple left over. Maybe I can find one somewhere along the way as I make it back down to the downstairs set where Andy Serling's going to talk about who he likes in this race coming up.
Yeah, I didn't get a hat either, actually, but I'm just going to go to Greg's eBay site after this and pick up a few hats, Tom. I think that's probably the place to get them. Yeah, he usually sells things a little bit cheaper, especially I've noticed the Nyra giveaway since he started working with us.
Man's got to make a living.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting back to Rumble Doll, I just think she's an interesting horse. And here, you know, you look at some of her starts. She got blocked badly 3 back at 7 furlongs. She ran very well, got beaten in the nose 2 back at 6. It's 5.5 furlongs. Look at her Saratoga record. 5 wins, 2 starts, 2 wins, 3/3. This is where she shines. Now, she'll need some pace to run into. Mm-hmm. I think she has a good enough chance, and 12 to 1's a good price for me.
Whenever I see an equipment change, like blinkers on or blinkers off, I'm always thinking like the trainer, and that tells me the trainer is looking for a different result. Now, maybe he gets it, but he's not happy with how things are right now.
Yeah, and I think she's a horse that you want some pace, but you want her far back. Just let her settle in the back and make her run. Don't want her too close to the pace. That'll mitigate her kick. And listen, if the 3 wires the field, so be it. But then she may do that. But I think she comes running at the end. We'll see if she can get there.
And taking a look at one of the current favorites, that is Animal Appeal here. And last time that she won, guys, and I was kind of harsh on her. I didn't think she looked quite the same. Coming off of what was a very disappointing effort at Pimlico. And Maya actually texted me, good friends with Maya, he's such a great sport. He said, you're absolutely right. I haven't been able to physically get her back to what she looked like last year. And he said, I think after this one, I'm going to send her to the farm for a week or 2 and bring her back. And hopefully that kind of turns her around physically. And it looks as though it has. And once again, she's kind of gotten back to her sharp self. So I think Animal Appeal will be tough here, guys.
She's the 5-2 favorite. She does have some other speed to deal with, but she's drawn outside of that speed, so that's good news for her. Of course, the horse on the rail, more royalty at a big number, has some pace as well inside.
We're going to know in the first furlong or so. They let this mare by Leroy de Sanamo get in front by herself. She's going to be ultra tough.
Exactly. She's got speed to her inside and more royalty. We don't really know what Night Delight is capable of because she didn't get off to a good start last time out at Suffolk, but she has been a filly on her good day that has been able to manage to show a lot of speed. But still, when you boil it down, I do think that she's going to be the fastest out of the gate.
I'm with you. I think she's the speed of the speed. You see Maggie and Tom go with the 9. Miss Katie May, again, I still think if she gets out of the gate, she's a major player in here. And I do agree with Andy. If the race was to fall apart, it's the 10 or the 12 for me.
All right, Ginger and Rye. Maggie thought that one looked real good. It's off the bench as a 5-year-old now for Ginger and Rye, the 12, who has a lot of seconds in her career. But she's got some races that, if she puts up something close to her best, fits right in here.
Well, Horacio de Paz, Maggie talked about it. Gabby talked about it. He can flat out train.
He's actually a trainer that came up under Todd Pletcher, and he kind of got his chance to shine going out on his own with Sagamore. And since then, they've had an incredible year, especially with their 2-year-olds, but really everything they're running.
5.5 furlongs on the turf. We should see a hot pace up front. Animal Appeal, the 3, perhaps in front. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown, Larry Colmus, with the call.
Here comes Ginger and Rye and the Sagamore colors up to the outside stall with Ricardo Santana Jr. looking for 3 in a row. 5-2 right now on Animal Appeal as Ginger and Rye comes up to the outside stall. And they're all in line. They're off. Good even beginning here. Animal Appeal goes out to the early lead. Right alongside is Night Delight with speed as well. Between those two, Red Lodge came out running in 3rd. Spelker is 4th. And then it's Sunny Sammy on the outside in 5th. Followed by Ginger and Rye. More Royalty to the inside is next. And then comes Width in Louisville first. Followed by Miss Katie May. At the back of the pack are Most Beautiful and Rumble Doll in the quarter was 21.5. Around the far turn, Animal Appeal is the leader. Night Delight on the outside, pressing the pace in 2nd. Red Lodge is 3rd behind them. Sunny Sammy on the outside, 4th. And then it's Ginger and Rye in 5th. Louisville first comes wide. Width is next. Cutting the corner is Spelker. They're into the stretch. And it is Night Delight. Animal Appeal on the inside. Here comes Ginger and Rye. Up to them on the far outside. Louisville first is next. Also coming on is Miss Katie May with a late bid toward the inside. Ginger and Rye. Miss Katie May second best. Ricardo Santana Jr. did it again. This one was only 11-1. Ginger and Rye beats Miss Katie May. Rumble Doll in Louisville first in 1:01:08.
Wow, not far off the track record here. Ginger and Rye. Ricardo Santana Jr. one more time.
Natural hat trick for Ricardo. Just one more slot out. 11-11. Well, he crapped out 12s here, but wow, Horacio de Paz had this horse ready, was a lot closer than we thought, only like 3-4 lengths off the lead here, Gabby, early.
And that's what he does. He prepares them so well in the morning to be able to well position themselves in the afternoon. We saw her actually swap leads a little bit coming down the stretch, but she was so much the best. And she did get the right pace to run into. We thought that Animal Appeal was going to be the lone pace setter, but Manny Franco on Night Delight was out to get her the entire way.
And the favorite ended up running a nice second. Andy's horse, the 10, did roll on late here. Just the 12 was sharp early here and ready to roll.
There's that little hop right there.
She might have shied away from something, actually. It looked like she did. I don't know if it was really a lead switch, but it looked like she jumped something on the turf course.
5th win of the meet for young Ricardo Santana Jr. And yeah, that certainly was a little interesting there late in the stretch, guys.
Big-time win, and look, the pace was right for a close, but the 12-horse Ginger and Rye, nobody was beating Ginger and Rye today with that kind of finish and that kind of time. I do want to make a comment about Ricardo Santana. This is a rider that is so modest, he probably didn't say the things that have got him to the winner's circle the most, and that is his hard work ethic, and he is the most polite guy on the backside, out there every morning working horses.
Well, sensational meet, and he's really stealing the show here this afternoon. 11-1 here Ginger and Ryan, this is a horse that Maggie had pointed out who was very interesting coming in off the bench in the paddock.
We talked about if the race was going to fall apart, it looked like the 10 and the 12. The 9 had the best credentials. Again, she got a little bit left. Not left. She just has a tendency to break flat-footed.
And going back to Ricardo Santana, this is exactly how you want to start off the Saratoga meet,
Yeah,
right? You come in, you have the Javier Castellanos, the Johnny Velasquez's, the Irad Ortiz's, and the Jose Ortiz's of the world. This is so important for building business moving forward during the meet.
Yeah, and, you know, Tom made a great point about the turf racing because the toughest place to win turf racing is here. I mean, it's tight turns. You get in a lot of trouble. Winning races like this, you're right. Steve Asmussen put him on the map, and then he rolled with it.
And winning on the turf, a lot about positioning and being very smart as a rider. Great job by Ricardo Santana Jr. here at a big price at 11-1. Coming up next, the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks. Is Abel Tasman up to the task of a third consecutive Grade 1 win? We'll find out next.
The world's #1 sire of 2-year-olds, Warfront, continues to command top prices with yearlings this year, bringing up to $1.9 million. On the track, Warfront has sired recent Grade 1 winner Avenge, Grade 1 victors Brave Anna, and graded stakes winning juveniles in France, England, and Ireland, Roly Poly, War Decree, and Intelligence Cross. A leading sire on all fronts, from Paris, Kentucky to Paris, France, Claiborne Farms, Warfront. Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, and there's your Kentucky Oaks winner, Abel Tasman, making the walkover, getting ready to go back into battle.
Yeah, she looks tremendous. The filly by Quality Road got transferred over to Bob Baffert barn 3 starts ago. She was second in the Oaks, the Santa Anita Oaks, the Paradise Woods, who just sort of ran away from that group, and everybody got backed up, and everybody forgot about her on Kentucky Oaks Day, except Mr. Baffert put the blinkers on. Now she's 2 for 2 with 2 Grade 1s under her belt.
And pretty impressive, too. The big thing she's going to have to overcome today is a lack of pace.
Yeah.
Back in the ninth, Ginger and Rye, $24 for the win. Trained by Horatio DePaz, owned by Sagamore Farm, and Ricardo Santana Jr., his 5th win of the meet. He's won 3 in a row. He is tied for the lead with the Ortiz brothers.
He has had a fantastic day, and this is a rider who has just been extremely aggressive. The Sagamore homebred. Ginger and Rye very well prepared off the layoff.
A couple for Sagamore already on the meet. A couple nice winners.
Mm-hmm.
And winning off the bench as well. I wonder if anybody told Abel Tasman what happened out on the West Coast the other day. San Diego Handicap and a huge favorite, the top horse in the world in Arrogate. Back in action, supposed to be a simple tune-up for the Pacific Classic. Instead, things did not go according to plan.
For this split second right here, I mean, that was it. I mean, you watch the rest of this race, there was no chance you thought he was running. He was so lethargic, even in the post-parade and there. But for that split second that we saw when we first cut the video, you thought, okay, he's going to make that move, and it just was not happening.
And the good thing about Mike Smith, he knows his horses that he's riding. If he doesn't feel like they're giving it their all or something's not right, he's not going to ask them, especially not a horse like Arrogate. And that's what we saw coming down the stretch. But it really looked like this is a horse who you see him in the Pegasus World Cup, the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Dubai World Cup, and he's always had a tremendous gait to him. He keeps himself, his stride underneath of himself. He was reaching yesterday. He never looked comfortable the entire race.
I think a lot of the world was upset about what happened yesterday, except one person. Victor Espinoza was like, got him finally, because he got me a couple times on Chrome.
Well, of course, Accelerate, one of only 2 horses ever to finish in front of Arrogate. He did that in Arrogate's debut. This time gets the win as well. Here's Mike Smith on how soon after the break he knew it was not Arrogate's day.
Right away, going into the first turn, I was way off the bridle, and I'm already kind of picking at him just a little bit to get him on it. It was a horse that stumbled real bad, and the rider had lost his iron, so a lot of that was going on. I was wanting to see which way he was going to go. Once I saw that he was heading way out of the race, I thought, well, once I get to the backside, I'll kind of do like I did in Dubai when we got away so bad, get him out of the dirt a little, see if he'll pick it up. And when I did, he didn't pick it up at all, and I was really concerned at that point. Just went ahead and dropped back down in there and started getting after him again. He made a slight little run around the turn, and just that was it. I mean, he just didn't want no part of it.
Well, John Sadler was asked when he was leaving the walking ring by a reporter if he's going to shock the world. He said, I don't know, we made it pretty tough in Zenyatta. It's closer than you think. Most people, Andy, Tom, thought he was actually kidding when he said that. It turned out to be true, but this was not the Arrogate that we've been used to seeing.
No, you hate to see good horses and top horses like that not show up, but the question is whether or not he's going to come back and run it all anymore after that, because that was just a complete non-effort.
The year picture. I mean, look, no one predicts the national championship of football in October, and we're trying to do that here in August. But Gunrunner is now the forerunner for that. I put him at probably 2-1, and I think Lady Eli may have a chance too, depending on what her career does. And gosh, after that, maybe even Songbird, right?
Well, no, I think Arrogate is still in front because of last year I said that Frosted won the Met Mile and the Whitney, and I dared to say he was ahead of a horse who had won a Grade 2 and the Dubai World Cup, and you told me I was crazy. So this year you're testing a horse that won the Pegasus, which was basically the Don handicap, and then the Dubai World Cup, $20 million worth of races. He had one bad race. You think it really knocks him off? He still has that big win in the Dubai World Cup.
But Gunrunner wasn't in the Pegasus.
But he was in the Dubai World Cup.
Yeah, but last year we had this conversation about Frosted winning the Whitney, and I said when you thought you anointed him the horse of the year candidate at that time.
No, I said he was the leading candidate.
I said he's not because he got beat by California Chrome in Dubai, and you said that race doesn't count. Why does it count this year and not last year?
Well, apparently it did count to you this year. No, apparently this year it doesn't count to you.
You're going to have to explain this to me off the set.
No, I'm just confused. So you're saying to me, I know it's easy to confuse you, but you're saying to me that it doesn't count this year. So it counted last year, but not this year.
No, I'm saying it counts both years, but your argument is it didn't count last year, but it counts this year?
Okay, so I still, you do have me stumbling, because Frosted came back and won the Met Mile and the Whitney. Gunrunner has come back and he's won the Foster, no doubt. But he did get drowned by Arrogate in Dubai. It does count, right?
Look, I want to see Arrogate come back. I want to see Arrogate do well. Right. But right now, Gunrunner is the leading contender for Horse of the Year.
Don't agree.
And Arrogate is also eligible in that spot.
Gunrunner still has, what does he have this year? Does he have a win before the
Let's talk
World
about
Cup?
what he's done so
got a Grade
far.
1, and he's got a second to Arrogate. Arrogate has 2 Grade 1s, and he has that poor performance, no doubt about it. But he's still ahead of him.
Biggest upset in Del Mar history since maybe Cigars Pacific Classic, and
this is bigger.
This was no field compared to that.
Oh, this was a. I mean,
so if the voting is today, Eric Gates going to get Horse of the Year.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
I bet the guys upstairs even agree with me.
Oh, we know. Last year, Andy thought Frosted was the second coming of the greatest horse who's ever lived.
I did.
But anyway, Arrogate, we know he didn't run his race on this occasion, Paul.
We need to
this
roll
is not
the tape
the Arrogate that we're used to seeing.
I said he was the leader.
Question
after
is now,
those
does he
wins,
come
and
back
was.
at the Pacific Classic? No one's listening to Andy. What do you think? Are we going to see him again?
I don't think so. I think this is very concerning. You don't take a horse that's been running 120 bars and what he's been running. I hear all these excuses. He's coming back from Dubai, this and that. Champions like that, Babe Ruth did not strike out against guys that throw 40 miles an hour. That's what happened yesterday.
Bob Baffert says if everything's okay, we're going to see him. We're going to prove this was a fluke.
Isn't that crazy, though? Because usually when you ask a trainer immediately after a race, even if they win or lose, oh, we're going to think about it and see how he comes out of the race. He said, no, we're going to the Pacific Classic.
I think he wants to prove, hey, he's still the best in the world. We're going to prove it. We're going to come back and win the Pacific Classic. We'll see. Quick break. We'll be back with more right after this.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, Abel Tasman 1-2 on the Kentucky Oaks winner. She gets set to go postward in the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks. You can play this race from home as you watch here on Saratoga Live. Bet the action by opening a NyraBets wagering account. Get up to $200 sign-up bonus using that promo code PICK5. You bet 200, you get 200. You can get signed up and started anywhere across the country. Of course, Mike Smith has a great history in this race. Back in 1993, when it was Sky Beauty, She became a Hall of Famer in 2011 for Alan Jerkins. Aegina in 1997. She later won the Breeders' Cup Distaff that year, champion 3-year-old filly. In 2000, Jostle, who upset the heavy favorite Secret Status and would also go on to win the Alabama. And, of course, Songbird last year again for Rick Porter in Fox Hill Farms. She was 7 for 7 against 3-year-olds in that 2016 campaign. Wow. And there is Mike with his game face on.
I mean, the fillies in there, he really is a ladies' man. Leon Phelps is long gone. You listen, Zenyatta, Azeri, inside information, not even mentioned on those winners. I mean, tremendous, tremendous resume.
The magic touch with some of the great female horses of all time. And look at Smith and Baffert in New York over the last couple of years, what they have accomplished. Just incredible. And, of course, that undercard on Belmont Day, 4 Grade 1s together. The both of them, they swept them.
We didn't, I actually going into the day didn't think that that could be possible.
Right.
But they just kept on winning and winning and winning. And Mike Smith, Bob Baffert, they have a lot of success both at Belmont and here at Saratoga.
Another big hour coming up of action. Greg Wolf, Paul LaDuca, Gabby Gaudette. We have Andy Serling, Tom Amos downstairs, and, of course, Maggie Wolfendale with us as well as we get set for our main event here. Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks, Abel Tasman trying to make it 3 consecutive Grade 1s. We know what happened on the West Coast for Bob Baffert and Mike Smith with Arrogate and the San Diego. How shocked would you be with an upset in this race?
It wouldn't be as shocking, obviously. Same connections, by the way, and it wouldn't be as big as a shock because Salty, I think, has got a good enough shot to beat her. She was only a length behind her last time. The odds aren't telling you that, though.
Saratoga Live, of course, presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. And Gabby Abel Tasman here, 1-2 on the board.
And that's a little much, just considering her running style, right? This is a filly that likes to close from off of the pace. She got a dream trip in the Kentucky Oaks behind a wicked pace that fell apart. But last time out in the Acorn, I had my reservations about her turning back in distance and not that much pace signed on. But it was an incredible ride by Mike Smith. Joel Rosario tried to manage to get Mike Smith to go outside of him. That didn't happen. He snuck up the rail on a day that everybody was saying the rail was bad. Well, he decided that he wasn't going to listen to that.
Well, and Paul, we even saw Mike Smith stay completely off the rail on the lead with Songbird. But here, do you look at this race and saying, well, he dove down to the inside, took advantage, and got a perfect trip?
Well, what ended up happening was Benner Island was on the front end, and Joel Rosario and Salte were outside of Benner Island, and you could see Rosario and Benner Island were both not paying attention at all to Mike Smith when he dove to the rail. And to me, I think Joel got caught a little bit off guard because when he cut to the rail, then Joel took off. Now, I'm not saying she might have won the race, but I think he got caught a little bit off guard.
Well, Andy, without much pace in this race, what does Mike Smith here do tactically with Abel Tasman?
I don't think you want to take a horse that's been successful in big race like that dramatically out of her game. I think what Mike definitely will want to do, Tom, is get her to the inside. It's been the place to be. And let her find her own pace. But I can't imagine he's going to look to ask her to do something she's uncomfortable with.
Yeah, and I don't think she's capable of creating pace. That's not her at all. When she left the gate in the Acorn her last race, she leaves slowly and has to get herself going. Today it's going to be the same thing. So she is fairly pace dependent where she comes from, but she's a great horse. On the other hand, her main competition, Salty, is one that, to me, can be a part of the pace. Let's see what Maggie has to say.
And Tom, once again, the paddock here at Saratoga is thriving. The energy is tangible here for the CCA Oaks. And I'm going to take a look at, obviously, your current favorite. That's Abel Tasman in here. And she's a filly that, well, she looks great. She's not one that I'm always going to love because she's not necessarily one that of a physical makeup that I'm immediately drawn to. She's not awkward, but she's just very elongated in her back. So it kind of makes her look a little bit, I don't know, necessarily off balanced. I respect her, but I'm looking for other options in here. I think that she might be slightly vulnerable just off of what was a perfect trip and ride from Mike Smith last time out. Number 1, Elate, is certainly the best looking filly of this group. by far. She's big, she's strong, she's muscular. She just is physically dominant over this group. Now, yes, her resume maybe isn't quite as attractive. She hasn't run nearly as fast as some of the other ones in here, but maybe she's up for the task here for trainer Bill Mott. And then finally, I always like when horses come back, you know, when I've seen them as 2-year-olds and then now they reemerge a year later, and I haven't seen them now as 3-year-olds. And that's exactly the case with number 6, Burned, who will be making her 3rd start here for trainer Graham Motion. And she's certainly grown up pretty nicely, and she looks fantastic here in the flesh. Don't get me wrong, Graham's horses always tend to, but I just like the physical progression that I've seen with this filly. So, Greg, we have horses set and ready. This is a bit of an interesting one. Is it all Abel Tasman?
Well, it's very interesting, absolutely. Abel Tasman, we will see what the plans are here. She goes for the 6th win of her career in a race that does not have a lot of pace. Meanwhile, Andy Salty gave Abel Tasman certainly a run for money in that Acorn. Will the extra ground be to her advantage today?
That's, I think, really a great question, Greg, and one I want to ask to Tom, too. I don't think she's really a mile and 8 2-turn horse. And while she has more tactical speed, the 7 post at a mile and 8 is very tricky here, hitting the turn quickly. And I don't think she gets better as they go farther.
That's strange, because I thought the Kentucky Oaks, she was so compromised going a mile and an 1/8 on at least 2 different occasions. She was trapped in.
Yep.
2 other horses in this race had much better trips than Abel Tasman and Daddy's Little Darling under a hot, hot pace. And this poor horse, Salty, just never got out and got around to getting to running until it was way too late. So I don't anoint her as a horse that can't get this distance or that distance. On the other hand, I think she'll just be just fine.
I think that's it's fair. I'm sort of thinking it's the case, but I think you're absolutely right. She never got a chance to run her fair race. I think Elate has a real chance to wire this field. That inside post, you cannot underestimate what an advantage it is in these mile and 8 races. You even can look at Arrogate last year in the Travers. He was like 2 lengths off the lead as they're heading the turn. They had that turn and cut the corner, and they know to be aggressive, and Jose Ortiz knows to be aggressive with her. She is obviously a very talented filly. 88 buyer in her debut at a mile, winning by 10. That's what good horses do.
And look,
she has
trainers
not put it together, though.
Yeah, trainers read the form. You're running against 2 very, very good horses in Abel Tasman and Salty. If you have the one horse, Elate, and you recognize there's no pace in the race, and the whole world knows there's no pace in the race, maybe you take your shot on the front end.
And they have the rail, so the advantage to do it. Now, I'm not saying she's going to win. She has been the cause of her own problems in a lot of races, but I don't think there's any denying that she is very talented.
Big step up for the one horse Elate.
Yeah, it is a big step up for her. I'm going to try to wire the field. I agree with what Gabby originally said, to be honest, guys. I think that 3 to 5 is a little bit short on Abel Tasman.
Yeah, I think we're all surprised by that, to see this short a number, but considering what Bob Baffert and Mike Smith did the last time they were together in New York, a lot of money going there with good reason.
It's true. I mean, what Gabby said earlier was completely 100% correct. The next one came out, then More Spirit won by 10 lengths, and the next one won by 10 lengths. It just seemed like it was a tour de force. You're right. And, you know, Abel Tasman that day was giant. I thought she was better than she was in the Oaks, to be honest with you.
And the bad thing is about a horse like this, though, you can't take him out of the running style. She's going to be compromised by the pace.
And, yeah, she may have gotten a great trip in that Acorn. She did not get a great trip in the Kentucky Oaks by any means. We'll see what happens here. Here's our post parade, and here is Elate, the homebred for Claiborne Farm, trained by Bill Mott. Jose Ortiz aboard.
She's shown grade 1 talent, but she hasn't been able to put it together in the big races. Will today be her day?
Your Kentucky Oaks winner for trainer Bob Baffert. Mike Smith aboard, going for a 5th Coaching Club American Oaks.
She's a 3-time grade 1 stakes winner, and she is the horse to beat.
Daddy's Little Darling, I feel like she's the forgotten filly in this race. She was 2nd in the Kentucky Oaks behind Abel Tasman. Julian Leperoux for Kenny McPeak.
She made a quick turnaround after a trip to Europe and actually ran a credible 4th in the Belmont Oaks. Now she comes back on short rests and tries this one. She'll need the race to collapse.
Long shot Corporate Queen, trained by Mark Cassey, and it's Irad Ortiz Jr. in the irons.
She's still looking for her 2nd lifetime win, and this is a really tough spot to try to get it.
Another Mark Cassey runner, a daughter of Lookin' at Lucky, with Javier Castellano aboard Summer Luck, the 5.
One who could be forwardly placed as well, but she would have to improve on all of her dirt races to have a prayer.
20 to 1 as she makes her Saratoga debut. Burned, the daughter of Bernardini for Graham Motion, Rajiv Mirage aboard, coming out of the Grade 3 Delaware Oaks.
Ran a big race last time, maybe the biggest of her career, but comes back very quickly off that effort.
And to the outside, rounding out this Coaching Club American Oaks field, it is Salty for trainer Mark Cassie, part of his trio. Joel Rosario aboard.
Didn't have a fair chance, as Tom alluded to, in the Kentucky Oaks. The trip is 1.1 miles the right distance for her. And can she save ground somewhere on a track that's kind to horses on the inside?
Still odds on Abel Tasman for Bob Baffert. As you get a look there at Daddy's Little Darling. Second to Abel Tasman in that Kentucky Oaks. Then tried the turf. Can she get by this one here? Abel Tasman, she has been on quite a roll as Mike Smith goes for 5 in the CCA Oaks.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
We're back, and don't forget, in the upcoming Coaching Club American Oaks, you can earn a 10% winner's bonus on your trifecta bet when you play on Naira Bets. See the full schedule and bet Saratoga Racing and over 200 other tracks nationwide at NairaBets.com, the official betting site for Saratoga Racecourse. Coming up on the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks, Andy with more on a late, the Claiborne Homebred.
You know, at least somebody on this show is being loyal to our fabulous sponsor, Claiborne. I am here to do that with a late. And as loyal as I am, it's also because I like her. Listen, I don't think she's supposed to win this race. I think 6-1, though, is a very fair price on her because there is a scenario where she's the controlling inside speed. And I know that somewhere in her, she has the talent to compete at this level. She has definitely not delivered on the promise from her debut, but I think Abel Tasman is dressed up off 2 good trips. I think Abel Tasman is the legitimate leader of this division. I'm not knocking her. But she is a bit dressed up of 2 very good trips and setups, and she may not get one today. And the 7's going to have to overcome the outside. So I think the table is set for an upset in here if a late can get to the front and set at least an honest pace.
Yeah, so you mentioned the trips that Salty's had and Abel Tasman has had, and I think that that's a big part of this race. Salty's going to be positioned much better, and I think better position than Abel Tasman today. I think right off the outside of whatever who's going to set the pace, and I think Elate is going to be that horse. I like Abel Tasman to pounce.
She's the horse to beat. I'm not denying it, but I think 4-5 is a bit of a short price as we get more from Maggie.
And possibly Abel Tasman's main rival will be Salty once again. And I spoke to Mark Cassie as the horses were leaving the paddock, and he said, well, yes, we were outmaneuvered last time in the Acorn where she finished second to Abel Tasman. Today, as Mark alluded to, the fact that there isn't that much pace, at least signed on paper, that he told Joel Rosario to warm her up aggressively, make sure she leaves there running. And he said he does believe that she has more early speed than what people might think looking at her current form. So we'll see. Does it become actually a race to the first turn where we do see several horses trying to secure that early front running position, guys?
All right, Maggie, thanks. So still odds on. Abel Tasman's been as low as 1-5. Right now she is 4-5 on the board. But yes, a trio of runners for Marcassi. And then there's Daddy's Little Darling, who has had some just near misses this year with some tough trips, including in the Kentucky Oaks to Abel Tasman, Gabby.
I agree, and I actually thought that her race, 3 starts back in the Ashland, was pretty good because there wasn't a really good pace in there. And then she came back and she ran effectively in the Kentucky Oaks. Obviously, in the Epsom Oaks, Ken McPeak chipped her all the way across the pond. Very unfortunate in dropping her rider prior to the race.
When she spooked out. The weather. I actually ran into Kenny. There he is right there before. And he said the filly's doing great. And if you look at her, she always fires a good race. I mean, going 1.25 miles on the turf last time in the Belmont Oaks was not a bad race. To only lose that race by 2 1/4 lengths. Julian Leproux getting aboard for the first time. And he has a very good skill, and his one good skill is he can finish, and that's what this filly is going to do. If they happen to go crazy up front, look for her late.
Andy, you just concerned with Daddy's Little Darling? They tried so many different things. She shipped all the way across country. She didn't even get to run. Then they try her on the grass, and now she comes back for this race back on dirt.
The least surprising event of the entire, perhaps decade, is that Ken McPeak likes her chances. That's the least surprising event. She has never run a race other than a sloppy track with a huge pace setup that gives her a prayer. At the end of the day, I'm a believer in speed figures. All she's done is run slowly. Unless this race just completely falls apart and Abel Tasman completely fails to show up, she doesn't have a prayer and is an underlay at 7-1.
Is this a dunce cap?
You don't make 7-1 dunce caps horses because they just aren't supposed to win. You make short
But you might just put her in the winner's circle if you do.
I think it's possible, Tom, you dislike her chances more than I do.
No, look, I think this is a 2-horse race, guys. Abel Tasman and Salty. I think Salty's going to get better position than Abel Tasman today. I think a cleaner trip puts her in the winner's circle, and I would much rather bet, which is now 2-1 over 4-5.
The only worry I have with that, I'm on Salty. I'm completely with Tom Amos. But is lightning going to strike again? No pun intended to the weather comment. But Salty had positioning on Abel Tasman last time and got run down.
No, I don't see that.
I understand that, Tom, but you don't think he had position last time, Joel Rosario, and then sort of got caught up by surprise?
Yeah, I think he got caught up by surprise, and I think that's important because he was wide, and Abel Tasman got the jump on him and accelerated before he did, and exactly, he was caught off guard by that. But, look, cutting the corner, that's a big deal, and that's what Abel Tasman did against him as opposed to being 4 or 5 wide.
And you look late in that race, Salty was getting to Abel Tasman, especially past the wire, although that's not when it counts.
Yep.
But with more ground, we shall see. Maggie with more as the horses get ready to load.
I have a great view here going the 1 1/8 distance here at Saratoga. They load right in front of me here in the winner's circle, and just taking a look at how some of these horses are acting. Daddy's Little Darling, if you will recall, going over to Ascot, she was a late scratch the day she ran off to the post. Obviously, they keep her with the pony here in the state. She does get wound up, though. She has been the one that's been the most live wire, if you will, heading towards the gate. Salty, she's been on her toes, but not in a bad way. She just looks as though she is sharp, but the calm, cool, collected customer is certainly number 1 elate here. I liked her in the paddock. I really like her once again out on the track. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. We saw Mark Cassey a few times watching on from the stands. He has a trio of fillies in the race. Of course, there he is again. Salty, the one most think has the best chances. She gets a 3rd crack at Abel Tasman.
Seems worried.
I would be too. In a grade 1 in a big race like this, I'd always be nervous.
Well, you know what? Talking about pace, too, because Elate comes out of a very slow race where Fergal Lynch, her rider, took her back to last in a 4-horse field. I do think from the rail post position, she will be the speed. But do you guys think that Summer Luck is absolutely impossible to maybe keep her honest?
No, you make a great point. When you have 3 runners out of the 7, you would think one of them's going to try to go to the front end.
It's the Grade 1 Coaching Club, American Oaks, Abel Tasman. Trying to give Mike Smith a 5th win in this race. Teaming up with Big race, Bob Baffert. Can they do it again here in New York? Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
And Salty takes her spot in the outside stall. She's backed off a bit here. 5-2 second choice right now behind Abel Tasman, who's at 4-5. Salty is in now. We're ready for the start. They're all in line. They're off in the Coaching Club American Oaks, and Salty did not have a good start at all. Abel Tasman was a bit slow into stride, but Salty will be last and behind her as they make their way for the turn. So it's going to be Elate who ends up on top. Right alongside is Summerluck, and these two now Summerluck will take the lead. Elate will sit back. Burned is running in third on the outside. Break of another 3 to Daddy's Little Darling, and then it's Corporate Queen. Abel Tasman settles into second position, last position early on as they head toward the backstretch and races 7 lengths off the lead ahead of slow starting Salty. The first quarter was 23.81 seconds. Up the backstretch they go. Summerluck is the leader. Abel Tasman is moving now. Mike Smith with an early, bold move on the outside takes the lead here in the Coaching Club American Oaks. He waits no longer. He has sent Abel Tasman bursting to the front up the backstretch. Summerluck on the inside is running in second. Burned is third, Elate behind them, Daddy's Little Darling, and then Salty and Corporate Queen. The half was 48.83 seconds. There's a half mile to go. And it's Abel Tasman a neck in front. Summerluck on the inside clings to her in second. These two head around the far turn together. And then it's Burned in third, Elate is fourth. Salty is beginning her bid on the far outside, going by Daddy's Little Darling, and here she comes. And here she comes with a bold move on the extreme outside, with Abel Tasman to catch. 3/4, 113.92, and they're into the stretch. Abel Tasman in front off the turn. Salty went wide. She's on the far outside. Elate is coming up the rail. Here comes Elate through on the inside to challenge Abel Tasman. Salty's in the center of the track. Abel Tasman and Elate come past the 16th pole. Abel Tasman, Elate giving her a run for her money as they hit the wire. Abel Tasman has won it by a head. Elate was second, Salty third, Burned fourth in 1 minute 51.74 seconds in a thrilling Coaching Club American Oaks.
Wow, brutal start for Salty in here, but Abel Tasman. Interesting tactics here from Mike Smith, moving early on the filly and then showing some true grit down the lane.
This was an absolute bizarrely run race, in my opinion. I mean, we saw from the get-go, Salty, it doesn't look like she's really paying attention, and then once the gates open, she not only rears up, but she hops coming out of the gate. And that actually gave the opportunity for Summerluck to go to the lead while Jose Ortiz on Elate took back from off of the pace. But a crazy middle move by Mike Smith with Abel Tasman.
And it won the race. He's made a couple middle moves with this horse. He made a middle move on the rail last time in the Acorn. Not so much a middle move, but I guess it would be a middle move with the sweeping turns, Andy. But watch this Late. Hands and heels, doesn't even go to the whip. He has Elate sort of pinned to the rail, and I think he sort of makes that filly a little shy to go through.
I'll say a couple of things. Mike Smith risked being an absolute goat. If he gets beaten on Abel Tasman, he looks like a complete buffoon. So let's give him credit for making an unorthodox move and having a plan and then winning the race. Jose Ortiz, who I blasted here on the first show, he gave Elate a brilliant ride. Didn't want to get caught up in the duel when the 5 went after him. He paid it patiently. He came through on the inside. This was a terrific horse race and a couple of really interesting rides. And I agree, Tom, with Gabby saying this was just a wacky race.
Yes, I'm really interested to hear the interview with Mike Smith after this race, because I really think in his head he might have thought when he saw Salty behind him after breaking poorly, I'm just going to take it to this field because it's me and Salty and they're the only two in the race.
Is he coming in a little too much there? I mean, I don't know, man. I tell you what, how is there not an inquiry here?
Andy, but,
no, but how is there not an inquiry? It's a grade one.
Not a chance. That horse never stopped riding on the one.
If you trained Elate, you wouldn't want Jose Ortiz to claim. If you want, your nose is growing if you say no.
I would not be able to claim foul against that winner.
You would not tell Jose Ortiz want him to claim foul in a grade one if you claimed the one.
Not a chance. They never touched. He made it tight on the horse.
Am I the only one that
thinks
there's no way, guys, and Paul, would you agree? There's no way in the world the stewards would even think about this if they didn't make the change yesterday in the Diana?
Well, this is old school because watch what Mike does. He pins him a little bit, but watch at the end. Watch him get off of him and go, okay, I'll get off of you. And look, you got plenty there for the Stewards to see they're late. But does he come in a couple lanes? About right here, he does. He comes in a couple lanes.
Does.
He
but
has
does he
to.
impede the path
I'm not
of
saying
the
the
one
horse should
horse.
come
He doesn't
down.
impede the path
But
of
I
the
know
one horse.
Mr. Amos would be
And
claiming.
Ortiz never stops riding. He's riding all the way to the wire.
I hope your owners aren't watching this.
That's a great point that Tom makes. He never stops riding on the inside. That's just a little bit of race riding by Mike Smith.
And they're all lucky. They're all lucky the 7 didn't break. She ran giants.
Yeah, going about 8 or 9 wide as well. Salty runs huge in the end. Abel Tasman, 3 Grade 1 wins in a row. Bob Baffert and Mike Smith. We'll be back.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
The graded stakes winning son of Bernardini is off to a sensational start at stud. Among the leading freshman sires by winners in graded stakes horses, his first crop 2-year-olds commanded prices up to 36 times his stud fee. Leading progeny include TD and Rising Star Recruiting Ready, second in the Bashford Manor Stakes, and stakes place performer Junket. The pedigree, speed, and class to become the next star in this sensational sire line. Algorithms at Claiborne Farm.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
We found Belmont Stakes winner Taprit at Fasig-Tipton, Saratoga. Where will you be in August?
Before Tepin conquered the world, she was a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sales graduate. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
And they're off. NyraBets Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBets Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBets Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Back on Saratoga Live, second straight day in a Grade 1. We have an inquiry down the stretch here as Abel Tasman's win not clear yet. Mike Smith has some explaining to do here before this victory is posted and official.
Yeah, we're in 2017. They use cell phones. I want you to watch the horse on the inside. Does he come out a tiny bit here, too, as well? Is he at fault a little bit? I know Mike comes in a little bit, but Ortiz came out a tiny bit there. And then it gets tight.
It does. They're both hitting left-handed, though. I mean, this was an illusion. If you look at the pan shot, you wouldn't think that Mike Smith was actually coming in and intimidating the inside filly. But when you look at it from the head-on, Mike does come over about a path or two.
It's called old school. It's old school riding. It's you know, Andy calls it herding, whatever you want to call it. What it is Mike is sort of knowing that he has to beat the horse on the inside. He's already put away the 7. Now his job is to intimidate the 1, and that's what he did. It's a tough call for the stewards. I think it should stay because Tom makes a good point that Jose never stopped on his horse.
And Andy, this is the job of any good rider, right, to try and intimidate?
Listen, the rider's job is to try to win for the owners and the bettors. I got no problem with that. But he definitely pushed this horse in towards the rail, intimidated his progress, and the late would have won if he didn't do it.
I
would take the horse
I cannot
down.
believe they're looking at it this long.
I feel sorry
about?
for you.
You can say that, Andy.
About Bob Baffert coming to New York and always taking the cheese.
You're projecting
and they're tired
the
of that. Is that what the inquiry's about?
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
I'm just trying to imagine this scenario if Amos trained a late. Not that Claiborne's going to give many horses, especially after this.
Wait,
Andy said that.
It doesn't matter
I just
who the
wish that I
horses
could
are.
hear what Amos would say if he trained a late.
Andy, you're saying that you have no doubt a late would have gone by?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how you can say
why
that.
they didn't take it down, but I disagree with the stewards on just about every call we see on a racetrack. They see things differently than I do. Doesn't make me right and them wrong. I just see things differently. I didn't think she'd come down. I understand what they're saying, but I don't think, and I think at some point something's going to happen and they're going to have to change this. But that's my opinion.
And you think this race is that kind of race?
Yep.
They never even touched.
Yep.
I know they were right
Yep.
against each other, but they never even touched each other, and no one
Oh,
stopped
they
riding.
definitely touched each other, Tom.
Look,
You're
maybe
dreaming.
maybe the saddle towels waved against each other, perhaps.
I tell you, the viewers are not fooled.
Oh, yeah.
Race has gone official. The victory stands for Abel Tasman and make it 3 Grade 1 wins in a row. Mike Smith. Wow, after what happened yesterday in the San Diego with Arrogate, now to have to sit through this inquiry, what a 24 hours he's been through.
Unbelievable, right? I mean, he's made the highs and the lows of this sport in any kind of sport. I mean, you're basically based on sitting on top of the best horse in the world at the time, basically with Arrogate, and you run like that. Now you're on the best 3-year-old filly in North America, and this happens today. Thrilling move on the backside.
I'm sure it was a little bit of a long flight coming west to east on the way here. And if there was a change, well, I think it would have been a longer flight going back out west, but that's not the case today.
Not done yet here at Saratoga. For those leaving us in the next minute or two, you can catch the nightcap race 11 on the NYRA Now app or at NYRABets.com as you see Mike Smith hop off and now can breathe easy with the win here as you look at the late pick 5 follow-up that started with Tainted Angel. And remember, the story early on most of this day, Ricardo Santana Jr. had 3 in a row.
He had 3 in a row and another win in the Coaching Club American Oaks on a filly for Mike Smith.
Unbelievable. And he really had to earn this one and ride her hard every second of the way. Let's go to Maggie for more.
Here with winning rider Mike Smith. Anxious moments, but Mike, I spoke to you before. Talk about the move down the backside.
Well, you know, she scrambled a little even there, and there wasn't much pace in there. But when she got up, she got into this big, strong, beautiful stride, and everyone went to slow the pace down so much.